just like, well, what the hell am I supposed to do here? And I was just like, oh no, I don't know how to open this cage. So I knew a rescue guy, like an animal professional. And so I called him, and he's like, he's giving me a lecture. And yeah, he got it out. But I came out and it kind of sprayed a little bit. I was like, oh shoot.
Does tomato juice get that smell out?
Yeah, so does hydrogen peroxide and baking soda. But I don't think it sprayed him.
It just sprayed.
I don't know. Yeah. I don't know.
Interesting.
I got a lecture about it. You know, yeah. You have a habitat. It's a beautiful habitat here. Let the skunks feed if they want. And I was like, all right. I mean,
yeah,
but it ate like 2 pumpkins and lots of squash and 1 Brussels sprout. So I figured out the Brussels sprouts. I just put them up on like a plastic chair, like, because I have them in bins. So they can't get it. But still, it's like, oh man, I grew everything from seed. I don't know.
Yeah. No, they can be their critter self, somewhere else.
I know. My dad was actually going to move it somewhere, but I'm just glad because if it had babies or whatever, John said it could have had babies. So, we shouldn't be doing that kind of stuff on the Shabbat anyway. Like, I think it's in the Dead Sea Scrolls not to hurt like any of the wild animals on the Shabbat. Don't kill anything on the Shabbat, so it's just like, I gotta get this guy out.
Well, you were helping the skunk out of a ditch.
I was helping. I did. I helped the skunk out of the ditch. I was obedient to Messiah.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Shout out to John Acori, who saved the day. Yeah, I didn't want it to hurt or like anything, so I'm just like, no, I can't leave it in the cage. I have to do something about it. But yeah. But this is exciting today.
Yeah,
a lot of new members. And Lachlan has been doing a fabulous job with bringing the truth out there on a couple of his posts. There's a couple little minor errors, but I just went in there. I tried to call him, but about the days of the Shabbat in a month, and that varies in the first month is different than the second and third month, but it's the first month aligns with the fourth month kind of thing. So the Sabbaths are not always going to be on the same every month. So I fixed that. And I also caught that he said something about the Sabbath is the seventh day of a continual, unbroken weekly cycle. And I just added in a 364-day cycle. The Sabbath is continual in that cycle, but then it resets.
Yeah, precisely.
Yeah. And then the Sabbath in the 4th month, 7th month, 10th month will be on days 4, 11, 18, and 25. On the 2nd, 5th, 8th, and 11th month, it will be on 2, 9, 16, 23, and 30. On the 3rd, 6th, 9th, 12th month, I did a typo here. The Sabbath will fall on 7, 14, 21, 28.
Yeah, and Shabbat Shalom, Ken, and John and Sophia, Callum.
Shabbat
Woohoo.
shalom.
Oh, Shabbat Shalom. So
Yeah, so
thrilled.
absolutely. So it's the first, second, and third months of
Hmm.
every quarter are all going to be the same. So
Yep.
months 1, 2, and 3 will be the same as months 4, 5, and 6, and then so forth and so on. It's just that every 3 months in each seasonal quarter, and then it repeats again, and it's that pattern, and it's really awesome. Ken, I pray you're doing well, brother.
Yeah, all good here. Thanks very much, Jeremy. If you look at the peg calendar, it clearly shows that each season is the same. The Sabbaths don't move in any of the months. It's really quite a nice to do, really.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, not to mention, the witness of the stars as well, that our sister Marissa.
Shalom.
Hey, speaking of, there she is.
Hey. Sorry. I called my mom quick. What's up?
Yeah, no worries. Did you want to play your song, actually? I was just thinking
Oh,
about
which
that.
one?
The one you just
Which
did,
one?
the newest one you just did, that you shared in the chat.
I don't know, because I've learned a couple of songs the last 2 days. I learned Forever Young for my dad. That's not a worship song though. And I just learned The Last Goodbye from I don't know if you guys seen the Hobbit movies, but I just learned that one too. What the one I shared in the chat, like with me and Bobby playing it?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, Though You Slay Me? Is that it?
Yeah, I believe that's it. It was
Yeah, I can
in
play that. Hold on, let me grab I'll grab the paper. Hold on.
Awesome. Yeah, it'd be good to start off with the song, And then we could see Ken dancing.
I'll put my dancing shoes on.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, 30 seconds.
No worries. And this week has actually been quite busy for me. I haven't even had a chance to upload last week's fellowship yet, so I'm gonna do that
What have you been up to,
ASAP.
Jeremy?
What's that again?
What have you been up to?
Work. It's actually been busy this week, which is a good thing.
Is that work-wise for you?
Yeah.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I changed some of the words in this song just so it would, drop the God and the Lord and all that, so.
Perfect.
I come, I return to Yahuah, the one who's broken, the one who's torn me apart. You strike down to bind me up. You say you do it all in love, that I might know you in your suffering. Though you slay me, yet I will praise you. Though you take Yet I will praise you, though you take from me. I will bless your name, though you ruin me. Still I will worship, sing a song to the one who's all that I need. Sing a song to the one who's all that I need. Sing a song to the one who's all that I need. Thank you. Shalom.
Hallelujah.
Praise God. Thank you, sister.
Beautiful.
You're
Yeah,
getting
that was
better
really
and
good.
better.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ken.
Hallelujah. Yahuah.
Praise Yah.
Shabbat Shalom, Brother Randy. Welcome.
Hey, it's a beautiful day.
Yeah. Sister Marissa's out there in the Ozarks as well.
Hey, it's like 80 degrees out. It's a beautiful day.
Yeah, I was saying that I went outside this morning. I was playing a song in the garden, and oh, it's just so beautiful out. There's a little slight breeze. It's great.
Yeah, sweet.
Awesome. Praise Yahuah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Glad everyone can make it.
Hello. Hola.
Hey, hola, Shabbat Shalom.
So we need a shofar blast. Who's good at the shofar?
Oh, mercy. I need to get one.
Give me, yeah, me too.
I'll blow one. I'll blow a shofar.
Do it.
Yeah, I'll do it.
That was awesome.
Sure was.
Hallelujah.
Wow. Praise Yah.
Huh.
It was in sync too. It was awesome.
Hey, a baby.
So yeah, welcome everybody. You know, this is our weekly Sabbath fellowship that we do. So, you know, anybody who's new, you know, feel free to join in anytime we got it going. Sometimes we do chats in the middle of the week, just fellowships for different reasons as well. But yeah, no, glad to have everybody here.
Is there a way to, like, share this with a friend?
Yeah. Are there others that you are interested in joining here?
Yeah,
I'll
I
share.
have another friend that's knows Yahuah, and he'd love to do this, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. Give me one sec. Let me get the link here. So we have this group, and then we have our library group as well, is what we
He
call it.
follows the moon Sabbath, and
Sure.
it just so happens that his Shabbat is Sunday this month. And I'm trying to show him the truth, and he's just blind. You know, he won't see it. But maybe he will if he joins the group.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, we have quite a few in our group here that came out of following the moon as well.
Right.
And you know, they themselves admit, you know, there's too many flaws in that method.
Uh-huh.
You know, not to mention that method came directly from Babylon.
Right.
And
He's not seeing it. He's going off of the walls of Jericho and how they marched through the Sabbath, and he's like, see, there was 8 days until the next Sabbath.
see, we kind of explained that. We've explained this quite a few times, but a lot of people get confused on that.
Well, yeah,
because
I do too a little bit because he makes a good point, kind of.
so a lot of people will think that it's speaking about, a 7-day count of the week when it's actually
Uh,
just a 7-day count. It could have started any day of the week. It's not specific.
yeah.
But even if it happened to be on that Sabbath day, which I doubt it was just a 7-day count. So like if I started from, day 4 and did 7 days, like
Yeah.
something like that. But
Mhm.
even so, they didn't war or anything. All they did was walk around and blow shofars.
That's
And
not
the
really
walls,
work.
yeah, it's not war. The walls fell down and the people fled.
Right.
So, a lot of people try to use that and, Ezekiel laying on his side, things like that. And yeah, yeah, yeah.
You can
And
probably like see the look on my face, Jeremy. I'm over here like with my hand sliding down my face slowly at Jericho and Ezekiel.
yeah. And, you
Ah.
know, it takes so much conjecture to pull to make those verses have anything to do with the calendar is the thing.
Right.
So
And
he responded, by the way, and I didn't send it to anyone just because I don't know the aggravation that it causes. But he did ask, where do we get the 7 days of awe?
Mm.
Oh, that's like right in the beginning. I'll find it real quick.
And then Ezekiel being told to sleep on his side does require it to fit a time frame, as we are given a start date and an ending date with the command happening in between, and the days count begin being so close. It does not, or it does have the direct bearing on the calendar Ezekiel was keeping because it has to work in practice.
But Katrina, him sitting with the elders doesn't mean that he's done sleeping on his side for that many days. It's during the day. He's sitting there.
exactly. And that's the whole thing. What was it that you said, Marissa? It was the polyglot that was saying he was told to sleep on
Yeah.
his side, not just lay on his side all the
Yeah.
time.
So him
Yep.
sitting with the elders is after his little rest there?
Him sitting with the elders, like they'll go from the beginning of that command where he says the 390 plus 40, and then they bounce all the way to the date that he's sitting with the elders, and they don't read anything in between, and they're just looking at that, well, oh, it has to be 430 days by then, but that's not true. When he's told to sleep on his side, he was not sleeping during the day, so he wasn't laying on his side, because they'll be like, oh, he's sitting with the elders. Yeah, but he was told to sleep on his side, so he was still in the midst of still sleeping on his side at night. That was like in the middle of not in the middle, but towards the end of the time frame that he's sitting with the elders. So it doesn't really have any bearing on the calendar.
Mm-mm.
Yeah. All right. So Ezekiel 1:1. This is, sorry, I'm going to copy and paste as I'm saying this. This is in the 30th year on the 5th day of the 4th month. And that's where they'll start their count. The 5th day of the 4th month. And then the next, hold on. Because it says it in here, like after the 7 days. So. Okay, so then, all right.
Okay.
Right
Sorry.
here, Ezekiel 3:16. Now at the end of 7 days, the word of Yahuah came to me saying, And so like he's talking to him, and then Ezekiel 4 is where he gives the amount of days to lay on his side. So you have to add 7 days in the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, the polyglot. I'll get so Erin Ryan actually found that because I brought this up to her. And when she went, she like looked at a lot of different versions, and that's the one she actually uses
There's
most of the time.
170 members in here. Wow.
So I'll find the screenshot from her.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, it takes a lot of conjecture to say.
He goes, nothing in this passage says that he can't get up for a few minutes here and there. Trying to use the bathroom that way doesn't work, for example. However, the rest is generally doable while laying on one side, especially if one prepares properly beforehand. He's not told to make dung sandwiches, but to use dung as fuel to cook the food.
Do you hear all the mental gymnastics happening?
I do. If doing math to serve as an authoritative witness to what Scripture says and how it works is mental gymnastics, then what is the claims of calendar X being right because it all works out? A mental Olympics? If math isn't mathing in Scripture, is nothing going on, then the conversation is stillborn because the person who wrote this is not listening to any other views, let alone reason. Oh my gosh. See, yeah, and then and then you talk to him about the moon cycle and how there can't be a 13th month because it breaks what Scripture says, like Revelations, Kings, and Chronicles, about there only being 12 months. Oh, well, there could be every once in a while. Like, it's just adding.
Yeah, it's adding to his word. There's never once mentioned any 13th month, but 1 through 12 are mentioned several times. Never a 13th month.
Right.
And again, and the
we
math
have
that
to-
he's doing,
Oh,
he fudged the math that he's doing. Because he's trying to say, oh, well, a year can be 360, 364, 365, 366. And a month can be 29 or 30 days. He's already fudging the math.
right.
Katrina, look in Telegram. I pasted that screenshot. You shall go complete these and then go to sleep upon your right side, and you shall take the iniquities of the house of Judah.
Sending it.
Yeah. He needs to stop. Yeah, they always hold on to that. It's always Ezekiel and Jericho. And it's like they use those as witnesses in what's not being said. They're just like, oh, but if you calculate it, how could that be? Or whatever. So it's always in like the gray areas or the things unseen in trying to prove that.
Yeah, and so that's why I always ask, where's the book, line, and chapter of Moses sighting a moon for anything? Where's the book, line, and chapter of, intercalating a 13th month? And the same, where's the 13th month specifically mentioned anywhere in Scripture? You won't find any of that. And then they ask for scriptures. Oh, well, where's the equinox? Well, first of all, they removed it out of Scripture, but there's still plenty of verses in the quote unquote canon alone that prove the straight line shadow. Men trying to bend what Yahuah makes straight, things like that. The boundary shifting. You know,
Yeah.
people want to reject Jubilees and Enoch. You know, Messiah straight up quoted Enoch while telling the Pharisees they don't know Scripture. Therefore, in effect, calling Enoch Scripture. When you actually look into the history of all that and why they were removed, it leads right to Rabbi Akiba. And we've gone over him a few times, but basically to sum it up, for those who don't know, you know, Rabbi Akiba was this early 1st century rabbi, and he went through, collected all the actual manuscripts and scrolls that were all around. He had his scribes edit and change things that, for quite a few reasons. One, to take Messiah out of the equation, to take the calendar out of the equation, and to promote their Babylonian moon calendar. And Rabbi Akiba did all this. He got rid of Enoch. He got rid of Jubilees, 2 Esdras, all kinds of books. And then, you know, Constantine and all them, they just followed in the footsteps when making the quote-unquote New Testament canon. And they rejected the books like Enoch and Jubilees. And from their own quotes, they say, well, it's because the rabbis rejected them, so we reject them too. And it goes into a huge history about these books. And the people that reject them, they've not looked into it. And they only, you know, basically parrot what others say about these books. And then what others say about these books isn't even true when you look at it and you read them for yourself. It's really remarkable. Yeah, go ahead, sister. Sorry. Did you find what you were looking for there, Marissa?
Yeah. No, I posted it in the chat. Yeah, you hearted it. That was what I was looking for.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can go over the calendar too.
Yeah. Like just like a quick like run through. I don't think Katrina saw my message there though.
Yeah, Katrina, do you got your visual ready?
Yeah. Well, I can't, you guys won't be able to see it, remember, on mine? So if you could just play the video visual, that would be better.
Didn't you put it on YouTube?
Yes.
All right. So, Jeremy, you want to find that and I'll play my song first?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like give you like a couple of minutes to get that up.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now.
Wait. Okay. So guys, if you haven't heard this song, I just want to tell you, we had done this presentation with Jackson Snyder, about probably like 2 months ago now. And that night I feel Yah gave me this song, and I've only been playing this ukulele since the beginning of May. And so like, I don't write music or anything. But this song came to me, and it's our calendar song. So I just wanted to share. I've been walking in the darkness for so long. Now I'm trying to find out where we went wrong. In the wilderness, I put my trust in man. In my journey to get close to you, sanctify with your glory, O Yah. Purify your temple and the altar of my heart. Show me your ways and teach me how to keep your division of days according to your word. I'm diligently seeking to understand. I've been reading all about the work of your hands, a profound message that transcends constructs of men, giving us courage to step into the light. Sanctify me with your glory, O Yah. Purify your temple and the altar of my heart. Show me your ways and teach me how to keep your division of days according to your word. Let your truth be revealed, for the great sign is your anchor. Remove the veil. O Yahuah, your creation renews, and your true Sabbath day will honor you. Sanctify me with your glory, O Yah. Purify your temple and the altar of my heart. Show me your ways and teach me how to keep your division of days according to your word.
Praise Yahuah.
Yeah, that's like getting smoother and smoother over time.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome.
Nice.
Good job.
Oh, it's a
Yeah,
fantastic song. Yeah, really good.
perfect song for this calendar and for coming out of the lies.
Yeah, for sure.
Not too many calendar songs out there, so this is perfect.
You know, I think that's true. I don't know if I've heard one yet. That's pretty
You
good.
you have to learn how to play one of my favorite songs. It's the one Davidson did, When Does a Day Start?
Yeah. Oh, does he? Well, if he has the chords anywhere, or send me the video
I
of that
will.
song. I'm taking requests at this point, so
That one for sure.
yeah, cool.
And Anchor is a good one.
Oh my gosh, Katrina. Elijah Elijah calls that water. He wants me to play water.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm like, Elijah, I am not good at this song. And like every time I try to play it, I botch it every single time. And he's like,
Oh.
water. He just wicked wants me to play that. I'm like, why don't we just turn it on? Lyndon does it better.
Oh.
Yeah,
Aw, that's awesome.
I know. He loves it. He's like my little like shadow with this ukulele. He's like, "Mom's ukulele." That's what he
Hmm.
says. And so, like, I was playing last night. Once they were all in bed, I was trying to learn the another song, and out of nowhere, like he comes walking out, and he just goes and sits behind me. He's like he hears the call of the music too. Yeah.
Praise y'all. That's awesome.
His middle name
So,
is David, so I'm like, maybe that has something to do with it.
aw. So yeah, I shared Katrina's video there in chat, but I was gonna play it here on screen as well.
Yeah, play it, Jeremy.
So give me just a moment here, getting it up here, and then it's only like 7 minutes long, so I'll go ahead and mute, and then we'll play it.
From vernal equinox to vernal equinox, we have 365 days. Well, 365.2 days in a solar year. However, Yah explicitly says throughout Scripture that his year is 364 days. 364 days is divisible by 7. 365 days is not. Yah's year fits inside of the solar year, with the solar year just separating day 1 from day 364. Just like how Yahuah separates the seasons. This day is equal day and night in the land of Israel, where we are kicked out from because of our disobedience. But this day is of much importance because it holds the creation week. The menorah displays this creation week so beautifully. This happens every March 16th. Then comes day 1, which is on March 17th, March 18th, March 19th, March 20th, day 4, straight line shadow. And we have our Sabbath on the 23rd, which would be, the Sabbath of the year. So when this event, straight line shadow, happens on day 4 of the week, that is day 4 of Yah's week. So if it comes in, last year it came in on a Wednesday, we would have a Saturday Sabbath. This year, the equinox straight line shadow event happened on a Thursday. So this year, every week, every 7 days, the Sabbath will be on a Sunday. So next year, the straight line shadow event would happen on a Friday, will happen on a Friday, making Monday our Shabbat for the year. This Tekufa day needs to remain intact. We can't have this happen and then move it to fit a Saturday Sabbath. That would be an error, and that's what most of the Zadok calendars do. This day is so important because if we had a temple or the tabernacle, the sun would shine through the pillars and light up the temple on the equinox day. So now, in dispersion, where we are, we could still find this day from where we are. This is per location, equal day, equal night. We could see this sign no matter where we are. And it's important because it's the first day of the year. And So this creation week cycle goes on and on and on, 7 days, 7 days, 7 days, until we get to here. This would be the 7th day of that cycle. It's also the last Sabbath, the 52nd Sabbath of the year. It's also day 28 of the month. And we bring this down into our counting of months. So it would be continue, skip this day, this is the void day, 29, 30, 31, and boom, we're back to the first day of the counting of months. Straight line shadow happens, you begin on day 1, 2, 3, 4. So why is this so critically important? Well, because Passover needs to be on the 3rd day of the week. Not a Tuesday, but on his 3rd day of the week. So that's why we keep creation week cycle and we merge it into the months cycle, and we are able to see how the Sabbath day is on the 3rd day of the week. Messiah ate the Passover. He died on the 15th, fulfilling the sacrifice of, or the not-so-sacrifice of Abraham with Isaac. He is the ram that replaced Isaac. And so he died here 3 days and 3 nights. Boom, we got our Sabbath. So it's important to understand these two cycles of time and how they merge together to make one beautiful picture. Because we can't track time unless we have our sun, moon, and stars. We have to have those because Yahuah said the sun is what sets and marks our calendar. So when this day happens, it is our sign for the year, which is why this is so beautiful when you really think about it, because the 4th day, that straight line shadow happens, and it's also the straight line branch of the menorah. So cool. And then all the other bowls here are all curved, and that's what you would experience when marking it with sticks and rocks, right? So that's why this is so amazing, and I hope that explanation helped out a little bit. It's really better to see the visual, because we want to think on, the calendar in which we have, but Yah's ways are higher than our ways. This is how he structures and holds his Sabbath day. Shalom. Ugh, I hate hearing my voice too, Marissa.
Aw.
What'd you say? I missed it.
Remember when you always say that you hate hearing your voice on the clips?
Yeah.
I hate hearing mine.
You just had that moment. You had the
I
cringe
had
moment
that
too.
moment. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope everyone enjoys my Hertz frequency music in the background. If you keep hearing those pings and stuff like that, that's Hertz. I think I had it on like 520 something Hertz. That's that music. But anyway, does anybody have any questions about?
I do.
Yay!
Okay. So when we first started looking at Zadok, okay, so I know that most of them I always noticed, because I understood the assignment. I understood when to start the year, but it always seemed like all the other Zadok people were always a week later. And I think that's because they're looking at the equinox. And that makes them like start their following Wednesday a week later. My question is this is I learned about the equilux because the equinox is not really when the day equals the night. So that thing that you're talking about where it lines up, is that the equilux or no?
So we use the equilux and the equinox. So
Okay.
the equilux is, you're right, it's not on that straight line shadow day. The equilux is equal day, equal night, and that varies per location. So when you get that, that's the day 0, equal day and night. That's the reset. That's
And
when the
that's why
sun.
they always do like the following Wednesday instead of like wherever the person can see the equinox. That's why they say, oh,
Well, not
well, here's
necessarily. Not necessarily. Just follow me with this first, because that equal day, equal night is going to vary wherever you are per your location. So we have to use the place where we came from, like Israel. So we use the equal day, equal night. It just so happens to be March 16th every single year in Israel. So that's the equilux, but we also use the equinox or the straight line shadow. But what, Torah is light and Zadok way calendars do is when they have their equinox occur, they move it to whatever Wednesday they want
right. Yeah.
to get a Saturday Sabbath. So the two sun signs matter. I mean, you don't necessarily need to know really about the equal day, equal night or track it, but it helps to see the creation week.
So how
It
do we
helps.
see the what we're looking for as the sign? It's always March 16th. That's all we need to know.
Yeah. Because then the 17th is St. Patrick's Day every single year, no matter what day of the week it's on. Why do they do that? Well, it's because that's the first day of creation week. They mark it.
So,
Crazy.
and I'm not being facetious here. Why
No, it's
are
okay.
we using a Roman calendar March 16th to figure out what day we start ours on?
Because
So,
that's just the way it's going to be every year. It doesn't matter what
hold
day
on,
of the. Okay. Go ahead.
hold on. We're not using the Roman calendar at all. It's
Right.
just the Tekufa happens to fall on March 20th of the Gregorian Roman calendar.
Right. Just
So
so
we're not
happens.
going off their dates. It just
No.
falls on that date.
Correct.
I could try to like off the cuff, like do that explanation on the equilux and the equinox and all that. If you guys want.
Yeah, definite.
Okay, so like when I was doing my research about the calendar, I remember when I found out about the equilux and I felt really lied to with that equinox. And I'm like, oh, but that's not actually equal day and night. But it is, and it isn't.
Wait,
So
time out. Wait, hold on. Could I just put this on Facebook live stream real quick? I want
I
this
guess,
explanation,
yeah,
like to be
yeah, I don't care.
boosted. Boosty. We're boosting it out here. Okay. And oops. And 3, 2, 1. Okay, Marcy, you're going to talk about the equal night and equinox.
Okay, so the equilux is dependent on our location. And so that will be a different day for everybody in the world, like dependent on their location. So on March 16th, that is the equilux per Jerusalem. Okay, so that's like the land. The Dead Sea Scrolls were found in Qumran, and they all share the same equilux date. And that's very important because that is the threshold of man. That is what we can see. However, when we're reading Enoch, people will oftentimes get confused and think that Enoch is talking about this equilux state, but he's not. Enoch is talking about the equinox date. And that's because when Enoch was viewing the luminaries, he was taken above the earth. And so that's important because his view was of the same view that Yahuah has looking down at the face of the earth. And when they're at that perspective, there is no atmospheric lensing or light refraction affecting how many parts day and night there are. And that's why for us, that atmospheric lensing and that light refraction impacts what we perceive as equal day and night per our location, dependent on how far away or how close we are to where the sun is rotating above us. But Enoch was not seeing that. His view had no mixing of the skies. His view was just light or darkness, parts light and part darkness. And so Enoch is describing the solar cycle. And when you get to Enoch 72:5, it says that the sun traverses through the north in order to return to the east and entering through that fourth portal. And so when we look at the menorah, there are 7 branches, and the middle one is straight. The ones on the outer side are curved, but in between, there are 6 spaces, which are paralleling the gates. And so in the middle, you'll see in the space number 3 and number 4, and in between the 2 is the straight line, and that's the equinox day. That's Enoch 72:5. Yahuah's numbering and Enoch's numbering begins at 0. And so in the solar cycle, that's the first day, is that Enoch 72:5, and then it continues the 364 days. How is the solar cycle still 364? Well, 0 to 364 is still 364, because 364 minus 0 is still 364. So he wasn't lying to us. He was just counting differently than what we in our modern day do, because we oftentimes start at 1. And so that's relevant as, like, what about when a baby's born? The baby's not automatically 1 year old. The baby's technically 0 until its first birthday, and then it's 1. So even in the lunar math equations that Enoch shares, it begins at 0. So I purposely looked at that, and this is kind of trailing a little off, sorry Katrina, but I purposely looked at that, and like Enoch describes 3 years and 8 years, I'm sorry, it's 5 years and 8 years for the, and 3 years of the lunar cycle. And when I went from full moon to full moon for those 5 years, he said that there was 1,070 days, I believe it was. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, because I have to look at it. But when I went and I looked at that, actually from full moon to full moon, there's an extra day. Because modern day, we start at 1, but Enoch started at 0. So even the lunar cycle is witnessing to how the count begins at 0, because the same is true for the moon as it is for the sun in the counting of days. And so I just want to jump back to the equinox and the equilux. Like, this is so important because, as I said before, the equilux is the threshold of man. And we see in Ezekiel 43:8, he says, in their setting of their threshold by my threshold, and their post by my post. So man has a threshold, man has a post, and Yahuah has a threshold in his post. And so what that actually looks like is that the equilux is our threshold, it's our post, because that's what we're perceiving here on earth. But from above, Yahuah's threshold and his post is that equinox day. And these 2 sun signs work in sync with each other because that equilux day falls on that day 0. It's the divider day between the years. And when I say years, I mean 52 weeks of complete days, which is what Jubilees tells us. that the year is 52 weeks of Sabbath. And so 316 on the Gregorian is the equilux in Jerusalem. It's man's thresholds. It's what the priests could see. And then the next day begins day 1 of the week is 317, 18, 19. Day 4 of the week, think of the menorah, is 320. That's the straight line shadow. It's the 4th branch. It's the straight branch. It's the 4th commandment. It's the great sign that Yahuah gave us in the sun, written in Jubilees, that will tell us when the Sabbath day is. The true Sabbath is 3 days later, the 7th branch of the menorah.
Precisely. And the 4th branch of the menorah is the longest, straightest branch, showing, also alluding to, I should say, that straight line shadow or straight line beam of light that only occurs on the Tekufa or equinox. This is what's going to light up the Holy of Holies in the center of the temple and even the tabernacle. And it's the glory of Yahuah shining and lighting up the temple, just like Ezekiel 43 is describing. Also in the community rule in the Dead Sea Scrolls, it speaks about how this is a glorious day for the Holy of Holies. Why? Because it's the glory of Yahuah shining, lighting up the Holy of Holies that only occurs on this day. The priest would know exactly what to do and know exactly when the month started, according to the sign in the heaven, the great sign, which is the sun. That Jubilees 2, verse 9, is telling us the sun is the determining factor for days, weeks, months, Sabbaths, years, everything. Everything else is just a witness to it.
I have a
And
question.
yeah,
Okay, so, and I'm just trying to fully grasp this. So, okay, so let's say that we didn't have our modern day calendar to look at, the March 16th. What would we be looking at precisely in the sky to determine what that day would have been if we were back then?
well, it'd most likely be the stars, but in all honesty, it's just like the Dead Sea Scrolls says, it's after that last Sabbath, you add that day, and then the year will be complete, the weekly 52-week cycle of the year. So no,
I think
But shouldn't there be something shouldn't like the sun line up a certain way or something like that?
yeah,
Isn't there
so.
yeah,
something?
What she's asking is, how do you determine day 1, Jeremy?
Yeah.
it's going to be after that equal day and equal night
No,
changes.
no, 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 no. That's not what she's asking, Jeremy. What she's asking is, how do you get the straight line shadow?
The first day of the year. How do you know what can we look at in the sky to visually see at the sun to determine that it's the first day of the year?
Okay, so we would need, well, first of all, this day, like he said, it would be if we had a temple or a tabernacle, the sun would shine through the pillars and would light up the temple or tabernacle. But since we don't have that, what we can do is put a stick in the ground and track the sun's shadow. And the shadow, when you track it, it will make a straight line. So if you had
Yeah,
stick
it'll
in the
go
ground,
straight. Yeah, it'll go straight through the stick instead of like going around it.
well, it would make a straight line. So if you track the sun half hour by half hour, you would put, okay, first light of the day, you would put a rock at the tip of the stick of the shadow. And then the next half hour, the shadow is going to switch off. It's going to go to a different position. Mark it with a rock again. And then do that every half hour, and it's going to make a straight line on that day. But if you do it on any other day, the line is going to be curved.
Okay.
So it's not gonna make a straight line. It's gonna make a curved line. And that's why you see the branches on the menorah, how the center branch is the straight one and all the rest of them are curved out of it.
Yes, that shows you the orbit of the sun.
Yeah, well, you could actually track the orbit of the sun using the stick and rocks as well, because it will make an analemma. So it's like that 8 figure. And so if you track the sun's shadow every single day throughout the whole year, you will get that figure 8. But you have to do it at the exact same time every day. And if you follow the sun's path, it will make an 8.
Right. Yeah, I've seen that.
Mm-hmm. But as for tracking this day that the temple would light up, since we don't have it, that's what the sun will do. And it's of course much more easier to do on in our millirary, and pretty much not with sticks and rocks. I mean, you could use it that way, but for like really good calculations, a lot of people use a stick on a board.
Right.
Check out
So
Ken's
that will happen
pictures.
every year on March 16th, that straight line stick stuff.
No, that will be on the 20th.
20th. Okay.
The equal day, equal night won't. They had a sundial that would mark that, but we still don't know how that works. But they would have marked that day. Isn't that correct, Marissa? What were you going to say?
I was just saying to look in the Telegram chat because Ken's posting a bunch of good pictures of this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Ken, do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I think to understand the year, for me, is we start the year on the straight line shadow, and there's only one day in the year throughout the world when that straight line shadow happens, and from there, that's the 4th day in the creation week, and from there we can then work out when our Sabbaths are going to begin. Then we do 52 weeks of Sabbath, and then the next day, if we can consider it just a divider day or a day 0, I don't think that. I think when we start talking about equinoxes and stuff like that, it gets a bit confusing for some people. But for me, the year's finished at the end of the 52nd Sabbath, and the next day is day 0, which is how Enoch counted, and we count from there for our weeks, but we don't count from there for our Sabbaths. Mm-hmm. So there's a counting of weeks that happens, which starts after the 0 day, and then you've got the counting of Sabbaths that happens from our new year, from the first day of the new year, which is the 4th day of the week. We also got to remember that we believe, and we've got strong sort of support for this as well, that Yah himself could be consecrating the year. Now, the temple priests would consecrate themselves over 8 days. And with that, if we finish the year on the 52nd day, which we do, or 52nd Sabbath, which we do, there's then 8 days until the first Sabbath, which is exactly the same time as a consecration period would happen. And for me, those are really important, not only the consecration, but actually that counting that day 0 rather than referring it to an equinox. Equinoxes are too complicated because it's all down to latitude and location and time of day. I think my equal day, equal night was completely off. It was never on that day. It only seemed to be happening in some parts of the world. What else did I wanted to mention? And yeah, from the first Sabbath of the year, we then continue to count to 52 Sabbaths, and then we come to the end of the 52nd Sabbath. Then we got the count zero again, which is the way Enoch counted, and we're back to after day zero. We're on to 1, 2, 3, 4 straight line, 5, 6 first Sabbath, and then count your days from there and go out again. Quite complicated things. I hope I haven't. If I made things worse.
No, it's great. Yeah, it's really simple once you get the hang of it.
Yeah, so basically there's two cycles. So there's
Yeah.
I'll just read what I wrote in chat. And so there's two cycles of a 364-day count that we see. And one of them is the weekly yearly cycle, which is 52 weeks of 7 days, which equals 364. And that's what the Book of Jubilees is describing. And then we have the monthly cycle, the solar cycle, which is what the Book of Enoch is describing. And that's the 12 months of the 30 days plus the 4 seasonal intercalated days, which is also going to equal 364. And so the weekly cycle, weekly cycle is going to hold our weekly Sabbath day. The monthly cycle is going to hold our festival days, like Passover, things like that. And both of these work together as not only, two witnesses for the calendar, but they work together to hold, the Sabbath and the festivals all in place. And it all lines up with the signs of the sun and the stars as well. And the moon is a witness to all of it as well.
And it doesn't work without the day zero, does it, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, it does. It doesn't work. And the priestly consecration proves that, because they would have to have that 8-day period, and the 8th day would be actually the first Sabbath of the year. So the priest would be ready by the first Sabbath of the year to do the offerings and things like that. Yeah. So it's going to be, I shared them right up here, but we have, so one of them is going to be 4Q324D, and it's going to be column 5, verse 10. We're going to see the word vacate there, and that's going to signal and show us there's a lot of missing text there. But after that missing text, it continues on. But if we dig hard enough and we keep looking through the Dead Sea Scrolls, we find 4Q394. That's going to be showing us what the missing text is saying there. And it's telling us, after this last Sabbath of the year, a day is added. Then the year is complete in that 364 days. And why are they saying it like that? It's because Jubilees, the Book of Jubilees, is telling us to start our count from the beginning of creation, which is, day 1, week of creation. And that's how they get the 52 weeks of the 7 days. And then they all in Jubilees itself, it actually speaks of the Book of Enoch and how he's giving us the monthly cycle. And that's what's going to hold the festivals. So then when we go to the Book of Enoch, we're going to see him describing the cycles of the sun, moon, and the stars, and what exactly to do with them. So he's seen the yearly monthly cycle, which is going to hold the festivals. Jubilees is going to tell us about the yearly weekly cycle, which is the 52 weeks of 7 days. And then in that little graph I got, that blue one, the last one I shared here, it's going to have all the cycles and which, Gregorian date they happen to fall on. And if you kind of look, like we call it the overlap or the two cycles or the wheel within the wheel. But it's these two, it's kind of like bricks on a wall, basically. You know, they're the same length, same height, everything, but they stagger them. And that staggering actually, it adds more strength to the wall. Because if you just stack them up vertically, that's going to be a weak spot in the wall. And that one row of bricks can just fall over. It's kind of the same concept with the calendar. It provides strength for not only, you know, where the Sabbath should be, but where the festivals should be as well. And it's the two witnesses. And these witnesses also line up with the witness of the sun and the stars and even the moon. I know Sister Marissa has gone over the moon quite a bit. But basically, the witness of the moon is because we have a full moon once every month. And it's going to fall between days 1 and 30 of each solar month. So when that moon is full, it's going to be opposite the sun. So that Mazzaroth sign behind it is going to be the witness to, you know, which month we are in. And not only that, but which season we're in as well, because the different Mazzaroth signs, they have to do with the different seasons.
Yeah, that's a great way of putting it, Jeremy.
Yeah, no, all praise to the Most High.
Sophia had to jump off because her like her children are there or something. So, but she said that she'll join us again when they leave.
Yeah, no worries. I was wondering why it got quiet.
Marissa, did you invite them?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, she was asking me questions the other day, and I said, why don't you just join our Shabbat fellowship and we'll walk through the calendar. And so she heard most of it. I think she jumped off right when Jeremy was going into the Dead Sea Scrolls part. So I definitely want her to hear that part later, though.
For sure.
Yeah, that's one of the most important parts.
Yeah, I was like super bummed. Like she sent me a message and was like, "Oh, I'll jump back on later," and it was like right when you were about to talk about that. I'm like, "Ah, yeah, that one's so good though," because I mean, we have to recognize that the Zadok priests have the authority, and they left us those Dead Sea Scrolls, and that's what's written in there, and so it really matters what it says. And it says Tekufa, day 1, day 4 of the week, and it says after the 52nd Sabbath, a day is added.
Yeah, and you know the really amazing thing is we discovered that after we had already discovered this method. So we were just looking for verification.
More clues.
Yeah, and then that's when we found, 394. And we're like, hey, wait a minute. We took it back to the original text and we see, look, after the Sabbath, this day is added. And we're like, wow, this is, verification of what we had already found. And literally, like every week, we get more and more verification.
I was about to say that. I'm like, he keeps sending us clues. He keeps verifying. He keeps reaffirming. I love that. Praise Yah.
Yeah, absolutely. And even in history, like the dates they give us in history, there is an earthquake and a blood moon. And we see that's what happened when the day, Yahushua Messiah was put on that stake. And that happened to be on April 3rd, their Gregorian date. But April 3rd, guess what? It's the 15th of the first month, the same day that unleavened bread starts, the same day Abraham went to go sacrifice Isaac. It all lines up.
It's really beautiful.
It really is. And the witnesses and the stars, Not only that the Speaketh star rising exactly on Passover, but each month there's a different constellation in the sky, and that's going to show us which solar month we're in. And then the moon works in correlation with all that as a witness as well. When it's full, opposite the sun, it's going to be in that solar monthly constellation right behind it. It's really amazing, and it just shows, how Yahuah uses all these things to work together in harmony. And people
Yeah.
just, oh, go ahead, brother.
Sorry to interrupt, Jeremy. An appointed time, if you look at the root word yared, it means to fix. It also means to set apart. Do you know what I mean? It also means to promise. These are promised times. These are fixed times. These are appointed times. They're not to be messed around with. They're to be kept and to be guarded and to be looked after. And they're not going to move. They're not going to change. They're going to stay the way they are.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we read in Enoch as well, The sun and the stars, they're going to be used to witness these things forever. So, all the people who say, oh, well, they're using fake suns and fake stars and things like that. Well, Satan has no authority over the heavenly things, and the luminaries are heavenly things. So Satan has no authority over them. He can try to hide them, but as Enoch told us, they're going to be used to mark these things forever. Even in the new kingdom, it says, they're still going to be there, but they're not going to be used for like day and night. It's just really amazing, us coming together as a group. And that's what it really took to figure all this out. It wasn't just one of us on our own. It took us coming together and reasoning through scriptures. And we're like, hey, wow, look at this. And, we're still doing that to this day. We come together, we find different things about the calendar, different things about the timeline, all kinds of things. And when you have a better understanding of the true calendar, you start to see scriptures, things pop out more, and you're like, wow, that's actually about the calendar. But the words you wouldn't know unless you knew, It's like that hidden meaning, but you have to have understanding to understand it, if that makes sense.
I want to thank Marissa really for for actually bothering to count things in Enoch, because I've read it and read it and read it, but I didn't actually count. I didn't do the research behind it, and it's absolutely wonderful that you can see that he was using a zero count for the years of the moon.
Yeah, that's an awesome find, honestly. Are you there,
We're
Marissa?
finding more and more, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I
Yeah.
didn't hear what you said. I'm around all the kids, so it's a little loud.
Oh, no worries. We're just talking about the recent find you had that the moon starts with the zero as well.
Oh, that was so incredible. Like when I found that the other day. Was I right when I said earlier the 1070 days for the moon cycle? Is it
I think it's,
1072?
isn't it? Wait.
Yeah, I'm trying to look back in our messages when.
Yeah, I was doing those math equations in Enoch, and I was like, yeah, here's the moon cycle, here's Yah's cycle, here's the difference. And I'm like, why does it say,
Oh,
certain things?
here it is. I found it.
I'm opening up my.
Yeah, I found it. So maybe I'll just copy and paste this in the chat because I don't know. Like, I'm a numbers person, but I know not everybody is. And so, all right. So the first thing that I shared was how long from full moon to full moon that yearly cycle is, because like Enoch says 354 days. And so the thing that I just shared in Telegram, I'm showing you like when it was full in 2019 to a year later, that full moon, it's 354 days, 16 hours and 14 minutes apart until the next full moon. And then from 2020 to 2021 is 354, 13 hours and 29 minutes. And so that's how you read that. And then the last one is that 125-24. I'm following the same moon a year apart, and then I put the time between 2024 and 2025. I just didn't list the date for 2025. However, I wanted to share this, so I went and I put 3 years together. So from 2019 to 2022, there's 1,063 days, 14 hours, and 13 minutes. But Enoch says that it's 1,062 days. So here, I'm gonna share that verse from Enoch. It says, so to the moon alone belong in 3 years, 1,062 days. But look, see above, 2019 to 22, it's 1,063 days. So there's an extra day and then some, and 2/3 basically. So then I did 5 years, the full moon 5 years apart. So this is from 2019 to 2024. Thank you, Jeremy. There's 1,771 days in between. But if you look at the verse above, it says 1,770 days. So my thought is, was Enoch a liar? No. It's just that this is how he counted. He counted 0 to 1,062. He counted 0 to 1,770. And when he talked about the solar cycle, he counted from 0 to 364.
Boom. That's it right there. You know, and it's really amazing, that find.
Yeah.
That just proves, you know, starting at nothing, at 0, just like Yahuah did. You know, Genesis 1 through 2. You know,
Yep.
the earth was formless, void, nothing, 0. And then that light starts the counting of days.
That's why we call it the void day.
Yep. The void
Formless
day.
and void. Yep.
Yep. And it's not that so people are like, oh, you know, you're counting at 0, this and that. And, you know, it's 0 is a placeholder. You know, like you cannot have 1.01 without that 0 being there as a placeholder.
You
So
know, or
that,
like I brought up earlier that, you know, we've all realized in the past, like a baby is born and they're not 1, they're 0. It's not till they've lived that whole year of their life that they're 1 year old. And so, like, when you're counting from that 4th branch, you count the next day, 1, 2, 3, and that 3rd day is the Sabbath. But it's not that the first day isn't present there, being the equinox. It's there because it's the 4th day. The Sabbath is the 4th day of the month. So it's counted. It's there. It's just not. I just think people like misconstrue this a lot. And, you know, Enoch's counting and Yah's counting, it starts at 0.
yeah, absolutely. And You know, the number 4 is very important as well. A lot of people don't realize that. You know, the 4th commandment is keep the Sabbath. The 4th gate in Enoch, it's also the 4th letter of the alphabet. You know, the Gadol, it means gate. You know, the 4th day of the week is beginning the first day of the first month. Then the 4th of the first month is the first 7th-day Sabbath. It's so amazing. Then the 4 seasons of the year. People don't understand how important the number 4 is as well.
Right? Miranda, did you see that in the chat, what I pasted?
Hopefully she's listening. I see her there.
Yeah, it's all right.
Wait, who's listening?
Oh, I asked you a question. Miranda, did you look in the Telegram chat what I just pasted, just in case you missed all that I just was saying?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm looking now.
No worries, sister.
Yeah, so just like to summarize, I put together the moon cycles, and like Enoch says it's 354 days. And so I went from year to year to look at the cycle, and it's actually 354 and some change. And then he says the 3 years, the 5 years, and the 8 years apart. And so I went 3 years, and there's an extra day. It's 1063 instead of 1062. And then in 5 years, it's 1771 instead of 1770. And so the moon is literally witnessing to how Enoch and Yahuah counts. They start at 0, just like he says 364 for the solar year, and there's 365 days per our modern day way of counting.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
How cool.
Poetic. Just mwah, chef's kiss.
Right? Like there's the moon doing what she does. She's backing up what the sun's doing. She's a witness.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. You know, people, they don't understand how to use the moon. And, you know, we're not saying we understand it fully, but this is really solid, and it's absolutely the witness of the moon. And, you know, there's some allure that makes people, you know, want to use it the incorrect way, you know, following Babylon, following the synagogue of Hasatan. You know, that's kind of why it's important to understand the history and who those people really are. And, you know, they don't have his festivals right. They don't have his Torah right. They don't do anything right. And they refuse to say his name. Why would we follow anything that they do? And, you know, I just hear that a lot is, you know, oh, they do it over there, so they must know what they're doing. Let's follow them. No, that's what they want everybody to think. You know, we can't follow the synagogue of Hasatan and trust them to have kept the true Sabbath. We can't follow the Gregorian week and trust it, which is Rome, to have kept the true Sabbath either.
Yahushua himself admonished them and said, you can't even discern the signs of the times.
Exactly. And, you know, everyone wants to ask, oh, where did Messiah rebuke anybody about the calendar, things like that? Well, we only have a handful of his writings and what he did. And I think it's in John that says, you know, all these books can't even contain all the works that he's done. So we only have a small portion of what he actually did.
Yeah, but we still have enough because you
Yeah,
need to understand the calendar to be able to understand some of the things Messiah was even saying. So, like, Aaron Ryan found a lot, like how he was untying the Sabbath, and that, you know, he told his brothers, hey, you go up to Sukkot, it's not my time. And, like, So he wasn't outright coming out and saying it because, again, it's the glory of Elohim to conceal a matter, and it's the glory of kings and priests to seek it out. So, yeah, the answers are not just going to be given to you about, oh, Messiah didn't outright say anything. Well, he did. You have to just know the calendar to be able to see what he's even saying. Like about even how he murdered or unalived or the Pharisees, unalived, all the Zadok priests and stuff like that, and they're calling him unalivers in Matthew 23, and of the synagogue of Hasatan, and just by him observing the Passover on his time, like you could see him doing it correctly. But again, you need to actually have eyes to see that, and you need to understand the calendar to understand what he's saying.
Yeah, and we see the Dead Sea Scrolls, they were very adamant about the calendar. It was straight up war with them. And it was all about the calendar. So Messiah being part of that community, like 100%, absolutely. He no doubt already had spoken to all them about the calendar. He knew who they were, and we could see that. And so the calendar was a big thing back then. It's just something they like to hide, just to get people to be like, oh, well, he wasn't caring about the calendar, so we shouldn't either. Well, if you think about it, the calendar is actually pretty foundational, because if we have a meeting or an appointment we're supposed to make, if our clocks are off, we're not going to make it. So the calendar being a clock, if our clocks are off, or we have a completely different method of counting time, we're not going to make the proper time. And all these man-made constructs that people, base the Sabbath off of, they just don't line up. They don't equal up. And when you look into the history of, for example, sighting sliver moons, we see that came directly from Babylon, all the way up to having a Sabbath 7 days after the sighting of a sliver moon, directly from Babylon. And then when you go and look through scriptures, there's not a single verse anywhere of anybody sighting a sliver moon for anything. There's no specific instructions on how to do so. And there's never anything that says, Yarach, the word Yarach, which means moon, has anything to do with Kodesh. And it just takes a little bit of research and studying. And, everyone's like, oh, go ahead. Sorry. Someone want to say something? Must have just been an echo. But anyways, what was I saying? Sorry. Well, anyways, moon sighting, all these things, using the moon for months, it came directly from Babylon. There's never any verses directly mentioning a 13th month. We see 1 through 12 mentioned many times. Even in Revelation alone, the tree with the 12 fruits, one for each month. It never says, and sometimes the 13th. No. You don't see any of that anywhere. The reason they have to add that, 13th month, it's usually every 3 years. And it's because the moon falls behind 10 days each year. So 10 plus 10 plus 10, you get 30. So that's where they add in their 13th month, because they're going by the moon. And then all throughout scriptures, Enoch included, we see it's the sun and the stars that are bringing in the year. And there's some who try to use Enoch to promote a lunar Sabbath, they don't read past chapter 73. You know, they read chapter 73, the chapter about the moon, and they stop there and say, oh, look, it said that the beginning of this is called a new moon, and so that's the moon for months. No. So what Enoch is doing is, yes, he's describing these phases because they happen. And he says this is going to be the beginning of what? The lunar month, not a solar month that's going to keep the calendar. Because if we keep reading, Enoch 74 says the sun and stars bring in all the years exactly. How do we know it's sun and stars? Because there's those translations that take out sun and stars and insert moon there. Well, the plural they in the next sentence, speaking about the sun and stars, is still they when it's speaking about the singular word moon. And not to mention the two other verses and witnesses talking about the sun and the stars bringing in the years in Enoch 75 and 78. It also backs up these sun and stars. He doesn't make mention of the moon. It's just they want to use the moon incorrectly, and it's because of Babylon. And that's why it's kind of important to go through the history, like, and say, hey, look, you know, if you're citing moons, you're following Babylon. And we see, you know, people like to use that quote from from Rome that says, "Oh, we changed Saturday to Sunday." Well, it doesn't actually say Saturday there; it just says the Sabbath day. They changed the true Sabbath day to a Sunday. And then when we look even further into history about that, we see that the Romans followed the same Babylon lunar calendar as the Pharisees and Sadducees did. They did the whole floating lunar Sabbath back then. This is why we see Saturn's day, which was actually day one of their floating lunar week, lined up with the Pharisees, you know, Sabbath day. It was the same calendar. And all of that's in my article as well, you know, just kind of going over all that. And when you look into history, you see Rome followed this floating lunar calendar that stemmed from the Seleucid Empire, that stemmed from the Babylonians, sorry. Same thing with the Pharisees. Because of the Seleucid Empire and the usurpation, the Hasmonean usurpers, they followed the Babylonian moon calendar. That's why we see the Pharisees, they're observing a floating lunar calendar. Then Rome was observing a floating lunar calendar, because they both stem from the Seleucid Empire. And then we see the Maccabees, those are the usurpers. They were the illegitimate priests that sold out the priesthood because they followed the Babylonian Seleucid Empire calendar. Yeah, it goes pretty deep, honestly, the history. And that reminds me, because me and Katrina the other day, so there was this group on TikTok, and pretty sure they were the BHI, you know, super racist type, you know, the Black Hebrew Israelites that, you know, I'm sure most of us know how they are, very racist, very extremist. And, you know, Yahuah does not like that. But anyways, you know, they were talking about, you know, they were observing their Sabbath the other day because they followed the lunar Sabbath. And so we jump on there. Katrina was on there first. And, you know, they weren't letting her speak at all. Then they muted her and like booted her out, saying, "Oh, you talk too much." And so I was in there, and they asked me for the scriptures because we were telling them like, "Hey, look, you know, moon sighting. We don't do that. So while I'm trying to get the scriptures, every second, like they didn't give me even a second. They were just like, "Where's those scriptures? Where's those scriptures? Where's those scriptures?" And I was like, "Whoa, relax. Like, let me pull them up. Give me a chance." And so I get them pulled up, and I start reading them off. And the dude starts talking about, "Oh, well, Kodesh means new moon and this and that and another thing." And I was like, "Well, I have these scriptures right here that you asked for." And he's like, "Excuse me, I'm speaking." Like, just very rude, very vile. And I was like, never mind. They already booted out Katrina, so I left at that time as well. It was just, yeah, it was the shortest encounter I've ever had. We weren't allowed to speak a single word. And then they asked for scriptures. They don't give us a chance to speak them. It was really wild. Are you there, Katrina?
Yeah. Yeah. I someone sent me their TikTok, and I was just like, "Oh yeah, I'll go on. I'll check it out." They were doing the moon stuff, so when I did get on that live, they wanted to hear, all the scriptures of how to start the year. And unfortunately, I was at my dad's, and I didn't have my other iPad, so I could transfer all the stuff, because if I'd signed out on my phone to get into my notes. So they were really rude with that. And I was like, "Well, you told me it was going to be evening that you wanted to do this meeting." And they're like, "Well, this is our Sabbath, so this is when we're having the meeting." And I'm like, "Okay, fine. Well, if you'd like, I could walk through the calendar, and I'll get the scriptures as soon as, I could." And that's when I invited Jeremy. And we were talking about like the moon cycle and the solar cycle. And they were like, they didn't really quite understand that there's the 10 days difference. And then they started to use Psalm 104 and everything like that. And I'm like, just trying to explain that appointed time, the moon is for appointed times. That doesn't necessarily mean feast. And when he read it, he read it and he added like the word divine or something like set apart or something like that. I forget. And I said, "Wait a minute. It doesn't say that there though." I said, "That word is appointed times. It could also mean meeting places. It doesn't necessarily," and I could give you all the scriptures. And then he just muted me, and then I sent him all the evidence through private message. So, but yeah, they got really, they wouldn't let us speak at all. They wouldn't. They just kept coming in with, "What about this verse? What about?" I'm like, "Could you please just hang on a second? You asked me to describe this." And so when Jeremy came in and had the scriptures, they wouldn't even give him like a second to like pull them up.
Yeah, they kept
Yeah,
asking
they
for it
weren't
like
nice.
literally every second. And I was like, "Yo, give me more than just a second. Like, I have to pull them up on my phone."
Yeah, you could tell that they weren't, that
Yeah,
they
they
were
wanted to.
racist, that they just didn't like white people. And I'm like, you guys got to get it together.
Yeah.
Like, we got to all
Yep.
understand the grafting in,
Yep. A mixed
like,
multitude of nations came out of Egypt with
yeah,
Israel and became part of Israel.
yeah,
They have to realize all that. And when you bring it
yeah.
up to them, they get all upset and angry about it.
They act like
And
they're the chosen and no one else can be, period.
yeah, and it's really,
Sounds very
it,
pharisaical.
yeah, yeah,
Just like
precisely.
the Jews. Just like the Jews, exactly.
Yeah, and so all we can do is pray for those type of people.
Yeah.
They're very blinded and closed-minded. And, they can think they're the chosen all they want, but with that kind of, distasteful, disgusting attitude,
Yeah,
You
vile.
know, they're, let's just say I wouldn't want to be in their shoes on Judgment Day.
Yeah, if they don't repent. Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's just not something. It's not someplace I want to be. That's for sure. That's why, I'm still going through all these other people's calendars, and I'll still test all of them out, because eat the meat, throw away the bones. Some people have certain things, right? So that's why I want, like what Marissa always says, is remain teachable, and otherwise you have that spirit of pride, and that's not good either. So, yeah, they got Psalm 104 wrong. They didn't understand the cycles of the moon as opposed to the solar cycle, because they said, oh, the solar cycle is 364 days. And I'm like, wait a minute, no. From vernal equinox to vernal equinox, there's 365.2 days. And they were like, huh? I'm like, yeah, that's not the right cycle. The Oz cycle is 354, the solar cycle from vernal equinox to vernal equinox. Yeah, that is 306. So this is what I'm trying to explain to you, and they couldn't hear it. They didn't want to hear it.
Yeah, they kept pushing and asking us for verses. So I was like, okay, well, while I'm doing that, grab me a verse that shows Moses sighting a moon for anything. And of course, they just blah, 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 running on and on.
Psalms 104, Psalms
Yeah.
136. And they use the wrong translation for, Sirach. It's just silly. It's just all lying pens of the scribes. And it's all taking verses out of context. That's all it is.
Their method was basically, bum rush you
Yeah.
with so many things at once
Yeah.
that, like, you can't even answer the first one because they won't let you.
Yep.
So they're like, oh, what about this? What about this? What about that? What about this?
Well,
What about that? Where's
that's
those
what
verses? What?
that's what they all do, though. I mean, that's what they all do.
Uh,
When I'm in the battlefield through the week, that's pretty much the way it is. I just got blocked by some other chick today because she kept saying yesterday was the Sabbath. And I went through and I just all I did was send her the scripture. She's like, why do you have to come in here and ruin our Sabbath day? I'm like, well, it's not Yahuah's Sabbath day, so you're actually ruining it. You're the one profaning. You're the one bearing a false witness. I'm just trying to help you out. You don't have a problem with me. Your problem is with the scriptures that I just posted. You're going to try to gaslight me through the process because you don't want to be convicted. Trying to ruin our Sabbath day. Nope. Well, your Sabbath day is ruined.
yeah, it's really rough out there, honestly, because all you have to do is share a post. Like, no hate, no nothing. Just like, hey guys, check out what I found. And then you get all these comments like, how dare you? Who do you think you are?
You're
Oh,
full
you
of
think,
pride.
yeah, prideful, this, that. Oh, you think you know more than me? It's like, no, I'm sharing it so you can test it for yourself. Don't attack the messenger. But yeah, all we can do is pray and just, endure to the end. That's why it says endure to the end. You know,
Yeah,
we will
it
be
is
hated.
truly war. I mean, it is a war. The battlefield is just like our one sister today. She said in the telegram, "Hey, look, this is my first Shabbat Shalom post, and I'm pretty nervous about sharing it." Well, don't be nervous about sharing it. Stand your ground, keep that conviction, bear that true witness. And I was like, and I'll keep an eye on that post and I'll help you out and I'll back you up. That's why we need each other, because, it's exhausting. It really is, but, it's worth it. And that's why we have to really help each other out. and be there to back each other up. Because when I see any kind of riffraff on other people's posts, I'm on it. And you have to recognize that this is a teachable moment when we could be helping these people and whoever else is reading it. That's why I just say continue to share, continue to be the light in this dark world.
I'm so glad that you added that, Katrina. Hi, everyone. This is Sarah.
Shabbat Shalom, Sarah.
Yeah, Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Lachlan is posting now on the calendar, and I'm so excited to see that. So we should really back him up, too.
I am.
He's still understanding it, but I'm so happy that he's jumping on it, and he's already started sharing it. So we'll back him up, and I think he's got three posts on it, maybe 4 so far.
Yeah, he's doing a series. He's doing why the Sabbath matters and why we're divided. The second one is going to be the Saturday Sabbath continuity or corruption, and then the third one's going to be problems with the Saturday Sabbath and the Gregorian connection. The fourth one is going to be the lunar Sabbath theory, tested and refuted. The fifth one is the Zadokite calendar preserved by the righteous priests. The sixth one is proof from Jubilees, Enoch, and the Dead Sea Scrolls. 7 is going to be why the Zadokite calendar keeps the true Sabbath. 8 is the common rebuttals and strong answers. 9 is the common rebuttals and strong answers, part 2. And 10 is the way forward, unity, truth, and preparing the bride. So this is a great series. He already has a couple up. He did make a few errors, but I'm in the comment section trying to help him out.
Yeah. Because he'll probably get some criticism.
Yeah.
And so.
Oh, he already is. Yeah. And I'm on it. I'm on it because I know so many people are jumping on and taking a look at what he has to say. So,
yeah,
we just have to support him because, there's just a couple things, and they're not like game changers or anything.
Yeah,
but
he's got such good points on there.
Yeah, he's got the meat really, really good. But we all need each other. We all need to support. And Sarah, you're doing a great job getting in those comments and supporting him. So really, thank you.
Yeah, I've just touched on 1 or 2 so far, but I'll catch up.
No, yeah, you're doing a great job with the support. Thank you thank you so much too for encouraging him to keep looking, because it really helped.
Yeah, we just want to see him come in one by one, and especially those influencers that like making posts and such.
Yeah.
So. So
no, he's doing a really good job. Yeah.
Yeah. We know you're a bulldog when it comes to the scriptures, Sarah.
She does. She gets in there and it's like nails it.
Well, there's no better way to prove the point than scripture, and I've learned that, from others like you guys. So, it's not, our opinions really don't count. What counts is the scripture. Can we back up what we're saying?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Ken's out there fighting too.
Yep. I love it.
Yeah. I mean, it is war. It's a spiritual battle. So honestly, we just have to keep going.
I don't think I fight very much. I just provoke.
You do a good job at that. I love it.
Oh, there's
No.
Lee, our shofar player.
Hey, Lee, Ray, Shabbat Shalom, Jermaine, Dominique,
Oh,
Body, everybody Shabbat Shalom again.
Hallelujah.
Eddie Chumney was invited to meet with Dr. P's thing again. Yeah, and unfortunately, it seems Dr. P doesn't really listen a lot in that, but it's really, I don't think the message is for him, but the people who listen in. Kind of like what Katrina was saying, it's not always about the person we're responding to, but those who will read afterwards and see. Maybe they'll be like, oh, wow, I never thought about that. And then go test it out. And then see, like, oh, wow, this really lines up. That's what we did. Because there's a lot of people who will say, this and that. And then they're adding, their conjecture and opinion on what scriptures is saying. But when you take it down to the scriptures itself, you'll see it means exactly what it says. Yeah, it's amazing, really. And it's true. We all need each other. Not one of us can do all of this on our own. And the more we're able to come together and reason through scriptures, being able to admit when we were wrong. Just like, those quotes that we kind of rushed into sharing, they ended up being wrong. So, we had to admit, like, hey, look, these quotes, we looked into them further, they're not legit. So, same thing with the Enoch 82. We listened to Erin and what she said, and we looked into it, and we were like, hey, this kind of matches. So we thought, those leaders were these two days at a time. She was making it seem like. But then after further study and actually Victor coming to us and saying, oh, Enoch 82 is incomplete, we went and read it more, and we're like, oh, wow, he's right. And then digging even more into it, we find the book of Enoch from the Dead Sea Scrolls has the verses that are after Enoch 82:20. And it continues into the other two seasons of the year with their leaders. Although it's very fragmented out, it still exists there, and there's proof. Yeah, Enoch 82 was highly edited. Yeah, it's really remarkable, the lengths they will go to hide the truth. And the truth they want to hide, it all links back to Yahuah. It's Yahuah's truth. And those who search it out, he's going to show. And that's what we've all done here. And Eddie Chumney actually gives a really good, he goes over the history really well. Like he lays out the history, the Babylonian calendar, all that. So Eddie Chumney, he's really good at the history part, which is actually how I started looking into the history as well. And that's what, how we found what we found. It's
Lee,
truly,
were you ever able to talk to Eddie? Yeah.
No, he was supposed to call today. He hadn't called yet. He said he would try to call me today, so
Okay.
I have not.
Jeremy,
yeah.
I got a question. Does people all around the world keep the Sabbath on the same day, or when the equinox comes to them?
Well, the equinox is actually the same day for everybody across the earth. It will happen on the same day for everybody. So like
Yeah,
our
I realize that, but people, I'm, of course, I'm a flat earther. I don't believe in the globe, but
yeah, same.
still,
Yeah.
when what's that?
Yeah, no, we're all about biblical cosmology here. 100%.
Okay, all right, okay, but where's the starting point for the first people that see the equinox?
So that's going to be right where the sons of Zadok were, the Dead Sea Scrolls, which is, just outside of Israel. But all of Israel in that same location, that's where it's going to start.
Okay, all right.
And that's
Okay.
kind of what we read in Enoch as well. It's when the sun sets in the west, then it goes through the north to rise again in the east. And we
Yeah.
see, since we're the west here in like the U.S., so the sun is setting over here over us, and then it's going to go through that northern section and then rise again in the east. And that's going to mark the Tekufa, that straight line shadow.
Yeah.
So basically, if you track it, really all you need is a stick and some rocks, and you just mark the end of that shadow throughout the day with a rock, like the end of the shadow of the stick. Just put a rock there.
Uh-huh.
And from sunrise to sunset, it will make this, the rocks will line up in a straight line, like a row. But
Okay.
before or after that day, you're going to see they're curving one way, and then the straight line will happen, then it'll curve the other way. Actually, exactly like the menorah. You know how the first three branches, they curve inward towards the fourth one?
Yeah.
And then the other ones curve the opposite way? It
Yeah.
literally does
Yeah.
the same exact thing. It's truly amazing.
So, does the equinox does it start in the middle of the fourth portal, or does it start just as it goes into the fourth portal? Because isn't it represented by the middle leg on the menorah, the center,
Yeah.
the one that represents Yeshua? So there's only 6 portals, but there's 7 branches on the menorah.
Yeah, there's actually an unnamed portal in heaven. In Enoch 72 verse 5, and it speaks
Okay.
about when it's going in the north, there's a portal, and it goes into it, and it shines in the face of heaven. And then in that same way, it makes its way to the great fourth portal. So there's
Okay.
a 7th unnamed portal there. And I think Marissa might be able to explain it a little better with her visual, but
Yeah.
basically it's
Yeah.
a menorah, and basically in between the candlesticks are going to
Yeah.
represent the different gates as well.
Yeah.
And that's where you see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
So gate 4 would be right there at the longest, straightest one, which is
Yes.
marking, the head of the months, day
Oh,
1,
wow.
month.
So there's a portal that doesn't have a name.
Exactly.
I'm thinking about that scripture that said he comes with a name that no man knows.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe he comes through that one.
That's it. That must be it, honestly.
Yeah. Wow.
Because it's an unnamed portal. Wow, really amazing.
Huh.
Because
Wow.
it's the portal to heaven right there. And that's the one that the sun travels to, and it's to the sides of the north. It goes in that portal, boom, shines in the face of heaven. That's marking the 0 day or the divider day each year. And then in that same way, it goes into the great fourth portal, which is marking day 4 of the week. day 1, month 1. Yeah, do you have that picture, Marissa? Or I may have it actually somewhere. But it's that little menorah. It was actually from Sean.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But it has the menorah, and in between each stick represents like one of the gates, and that's where we get the 6 gates or the 6 portals. Yeah, there it is. Yeah. And then we see the 2 menorahs right there, and that center point is also, that's the Tekufa for the solar cycle. That's like, it's really amazing, honestly. It truly is. I think Marissa can probably explain much better than I.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is March is March the 20th? Is that Gregorian date of March the 20th always the equinox, or is it sometimes the 19th?
So, uh, Sister Erin Ryan and Brother Alan Pizarak, they've both been tracking it over a decade. And actually, Lee as well has been tracking it. But it's pretty much always, actually, Aaron Ryan always tracks it on the 20th. Alan does as
Okay.
well. I know Lee said he's tracked it on the 19th a couple times, but we think that may have to do with what the Gregorian does with their leap year. And it might throw it off during that year. And that's something we're still trying to figure out as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Now,
that
does
straight
your
line event might be 1.24 days long. So that means like less than a quarter of the world would see it the day before.
So I think 2028, if I remember right, that's the leap year.
so then do you jump from Sabbath to, instead of jumping one day, do you, on the leap years, do you jump 2 days then for the Sabbath instead of just one day on the talking about the Gregorian calendar?
Yeah, so that's kind of what we're trying to figure out exactly. Because Marissa had found it's always just this 1.24 days excess, and that's because
Yeah.
that's exactly how long the Takupa is.
And Marissa, could you explain that maybe again?
So like when you go from the timestamp of the vernal equinox, so that's like right when the sun hits the celestial equator, it is always 365.24 days from one to the next. So there's never like, it's never longer than that. It's literally within like 10 minutes. So like if it's like 365 days, 5 hours and 50 minutes. I've seen it say 45 minutes. I've seen it say 55 minutes, but it's always like right there where it's 0.24 days from vernal
And that's
equinox
a
to vernal equinox.
yeah, and so that's a solar year every year then. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's reliable. So with the Gregorian calendar, though, the equinox can sometimes occur on the 19th, but it's typically in the evening of the 19th. So that straight line shadow won't appear until the next solar noon.
I
So,
see.
yeah.
I agree. Yeah. I see that. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I think on those years, it's so close on the 19th that some people will think that they've seen that straight line on the 19th. But the true marker is the 20th.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so basically, we see it always evens out to the 20th. And I think it's because of the Gregorian, how we keep modern time basically. And they say it's exactly like these 24-hour days when it's actually just shy of 24 hours, which is why Enoch is actually tracking time in like 16 parts.
Right.
Is one of the reasons the way you keep the Zadok calendar is because there's nothing mentioned at all about intercalation in the Dead Sea Scrolls.
Yeah, we don't see intercalation, not in the Dead Sea Scrolls or even in scriptures. And it's Jubilees 6, I believe, but it speaks about, it's the verse where he's speaking about how it's always these 52 weeks of 7 days from year to year, every single year. And, there will be no straying from this.
Yeah.
Nowhere in that is he describing like adding 7 extra days anywhere or a 13th month anywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it says the year is exactly 364 days.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
And
yeah, that's got me to thinking about the calendar, because I've been on that same calendar, and I'm still on that same calendar with Sarah and Gina and Robert. But yeah, I spoke to Sarah here a week or so ago, and told her some things that I had, was concerned about, and she didn't really have too much to say about it, and he hasn't gotten back with me yet, so I don't know. I haven't heard
That's
anything
what
from
they
her.
typical
But
that's what they typically do. That's the same thing we've been dealing with Gina and Robert. We'll go to them and say, "Hey, look, this is what we found." And they just don't reply. Instead, what they
yeah,
do, if it's in public, they'll just gaslight.
yeah,
So they'll just say,
yeah,
"Oh, how long have you been doing this? Oh, how long have you been like trying to discredit like what we
yeah,
found?"
yeah,
And then I'm like,
uh-huh,
"Okay, Robert, well, how long have you been doing it?" And he
yeah,
like, it's like the same time frame, dude.
It
Like you
doesn't need
literally,
to
yeah,
become a
yeah,
pissing
yeah,
contest. You know,
it
it's
yeah,
doesn't.
yeah,
aren't we
yeah,
all on the same? You know, aren't we all striving for the same thing to find Yah's
yeah,
calendar and understand
yeah,
it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but what happened?
Sarah, we've known Sarah for, well, I first met her in 1999, and so we've had a good, close relationship with Sarah and her friend there in Hattiesburg, Lucy Jones. But anyway, yeah, Sarah, she wouldn't argue with me, and she wouldn't get mad or anything like that. I mean, we're friends, and we'll always be friends. But yeah, but I'm just starting to see it different than what they're seeing it right now. And I may, I think it's about time I may call her and talk to her and ask her if she's looked into it, what I spoke to her about, and see what she's thinking about some of those things, you know, because she
Marissa,
did.
could you go over what you found in regards to what they're doing for him so that he could effectively communicate?
Um, like with the moon part.
Yeah, so like with what they found and how the moon doesn't do what they say it
Oh,
does.
okay.
Well,
Because there.
Definitely does. Sarah definitely doesn't believe that the moon has. Uh, it might have. I don't know what you think about the moon, but it don't have any bearing on when the year starts. I don't think.
yeah, exactly.
And
Yeah, no, we've shown that their method is very, it's off and it's incorrect. It doesn't line up.
yeah,
And I'm glad you can witness to that because we got the same treatment as you. We bring it up and they're like, "Oh, let us look into it. We'll get back to you," and they never get back to you.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Well, I'll keep pressing. I'll keep pressing on Sarah about it because her and Gina's. I think they go back even closer, a friendship longer than me and Sarah. So
Well, now when we were on that Zoom all together, that's when
yeah,
I met Sarah, and she's like,
yeah.
"Well, we're on the same calendar," but I'm like, "Well, if they're on the calendar that Gina follows, then it's on Saturday. The Sabbath is on Saturday and
Right,
not
right.
Sunday. So
Yes.
how is that?"
Well, and she said that we're on. She told you that we were on the same calendar that you
Yeah.
were.
Yeah.
Well, uh, we're not, and so I don't know what. I don't
Were
know what
you
she
able
meant
to
by that.
talk to her about the divider day or any of that?
Yes, I did. I talked to her. I said, look in Genesis, the first few verses in Genesis, and it looks like there's a day of a 0 day, and and I can't fully explain that. But anyway, I'll do my best with trying to convey what
Yeah,
I'm
well,
what I'm.
would you be willing to listen to Marissa to see what she found that would disprove that calendar? So that
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely, yeah.
Marissa, would you be able to go over
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Cool.
So, I am with all the kids, so if you guys hear them, I'm sorry. Like that. All right. So, looks good, Silas. So we were like with them on the calendar and everything. I found it really fascinating that they were able to find those 6 years of lunar cycles that lined up from 2019 to 2024. However, when you start diving into their information, you go like we listened to that presentation Robert did on Jackson Snyder, for example. So about at the 10th month, 11th, and 12th month, the moon is a day off from what they were saying. Like it should have come in on the 30th day, but it comes in on the 29th or vice versa. I can't remember which one it was, but it was a day off.
Yeah.
And so, but as you continue through their information, the moon becomes a couple of days off. And so I said something to her about that, and she said, well, as long as the phase falls within the same week. And so I'm like, okay. And so, yeah. So continuing with the information, so you get to the end of the 6 years, and the whole thing about this was that they were trying to find a way of intercalating that matched up with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And they were saying, well, it can't be before 6 years because the Dead Sea Scrolls shows no intercalation. There's no like week added or anything like that. Now the Dead Sea Scrolls doesn't have a Wednesday in there either. It doesn't have a Saturday. It has day 4, day 1 through 7 of the week. It has Takufa day 4 on the first day of the month. So back to their method, you get to the end of the 6 years and you add a week. And so they thought this was really fascinating that it's within a week of the equilux. And so then they were not recognizing that straight line shadow sign. And that was fine, like in the moment as I was still learning. And like, so just understand, like I wasn't, I didn't have like any ill thoughts towards them. I was just trying to understand their reasoning. And so she said, well, it actually lines up perfectly with the stars because the sun enters Pisces March 11th or 12th, And so the sun is still in Pisces by that 6th year. And so I'm like, well, like, what are you seeing as the sign for that? Like, what are you actually witnessing in the stars? What are you observing? And she couldn't answer that for me, or wouldn't answer that. She kind of like brushed it off and was like, well, you're
Yeah.
just going to have to look at it yourself. And so I'm like, okay, well, so I'm trying to look at it, but so there's a few different reckoning for the years. There's the tropical year, there's the sidereal year, and there's the astronomical year. And per
Yeah.
the astronomical year, the sun enters Pisces that March 11th or 12th.
Yeah.
And so, but the problem with the astronomical cycle is that they add in the 13th
Yeah.
constellation, Ophiuchus, or I forget what that one's called. It starts with the O, Ophiuchus or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
Ophiuchus.
Yeah.
thank you. Yes, and so astronomical time is not the way to go because it does not evenly divide the constellations the way that sidereal time and tropical time do. The 12 constellations are 30 degrees each, and that's what makes up the full circle of the celestial sphere.
Yeah.
So
But
okay, so
yeah. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm
But
just kind of like
yeah.
spouting, right?
Yeah. But I think me and Sarah and Gina, we were all concentrating for a long time on trying to get this calendar to work out to where the 24 priestly courses all lined up, and then this past year, then Sarah got with me and said, we got it figured out where you intercalate after 6 years, and the 2019 was the first year, and that's when we had a full moon on that Wednesday, and so forth, and then so then they were we were all hung up on trying to get the priestly courses to line up, but now I'm seeing that it looks like that your calendar that you keep with just 364 days in a year, it looks like that the priestly courses would fit that calendar perfectly.
Yeah. So Ray, the thing is that if you only intercalate every 6 years, your beginning year, like your year one, will continue to get further and further behind. So just like this year, they intercalated, but it started March 19th. And so as you continue, like 100 years down the road, you have like a March 10th start date. And I said something to her, and I'm like, like it's already off. It's going to continue to fall away from the vernal equinox, which is the determiner for spring. And she said, well, I won't be alive then, so it doesn't matter. That's what Gina said.
Yeah.
And so like
Well,
that's so like disheartening, because it's like, don't we have children that we're leading, and we want to lead
yeah.
them in the path of righteousness? We want them to
Uh-huh.
understand Yah's ways.
Uh-huh.
So this matters so deeply. And
Yeah.
like the deeper you go into their the methodology about it, it doesn't work. Especially
Yeah.
when they're like, well, so these, like with the moon cycles, well, it's only going to line up every 294 years, that first cycle. I'm telling you, Ray, I did that. I looked
Yeah.
294 years in the
Yeah.
past. I looked 294 years in the future, and it does not line up. It's like
Yeah.
92%. And then if you go another 294 years, then it's at 80%. And then if you go again, it's at 65%. Like the moon doesn't line up like that every 294 years.
Yeah.
So, but that's what they're putting out there, like it will. And
Yeah.
people don't typically go that deep to dive
Yeah.
into it. But because of all of this, I've probably spent like, I don't know, probably like 50 hours tracking moon cycles to try to find its patterns, because I wanted to make sense of the moon and how it fits in. I wanted wholeheartedly for that to be like a strong piece of the calendar, and it's not. It's not reliable. It literally
Yeah.
has like a 6-year cycle and a 5-year cycle, but the cycles, it goes 5 6 5 6 5 6 5 5 6.
Uh-huh.
So because of that like skip right there, it's not
Uh-huh.
it's not replicable. It will not do the same thing. It will not show up. So it's not going to be the indicator for the priestly courses the way that they think it's going to be. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, those are authors' insertions in the Dead Sea Scrolls anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
Found
Sarah, we there was a few years, quite a few years there that we was keeping a different calendar than Sarah, because she was sticking to Saturday Sabbath, and we that was back when we started listening to Rob and Boaz about maybe 2012 or somewhere in there, and I think maybe for five or 6 years we kept their calendar, but because their calendar they skipped a day every year for the Sabbath. It was a different Sabbath on the Gregorian calendar every year, but they never mentioned anything about a year zero. I can't remember exactly all what their conclusions was on the calendar now, but anyway, we kept that for a while, and then and then we followed Nick Vanderlane, and he does the same thing. His calendar skips a Gregorian day every year for the Sabbath.
Yeah.
But
So
he starts his year after the equinox. So he's following
Yeah.
the solar cycle. He's not following.
yeah, yeah,
So Ray, the problem with Nyx is that he skips the equinox day. And so then that doesn't leave creation week intact, and you also don't have like the menorah effect to it.
yeah. I can
Yeah.
see that. Yeah, I can see
Yeah,
that.
and I will just point this out too, and let you in on this, Ray. I reached out to Nick Vanderland myself I was excitedly sharing with him something that I found. I can't remember the specific piece of this puzzle that I wanted to share with him, but I sent him it. I was so excited, and he literally responded with a link to his article and told me to share it with my husband.
Yeah.
So basically, like, shut up, you stupid woman. Let the men do the research. I'm like, wow.
He
Yeah.
That's the
outrightly
spirit.
Yeah.
told me to be silenced
Yeah.
because I am a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So you know them by
I
their
don't
fruits.
I don't think people have to get angry or upset on discussing the calendar, even if you don't agree.
Right. Totally.
We're all trying to be on the same path, the same goal, and so I'm not one to get into arguments or whatnot about the calendar, but I just want to understand it, and so
That's the humble heart to come to, like, that's the approach to take with the calendar, for sure.
yeah,
Right.
and
Like
can you hear me?
they all have a piece to the puzzle. It's just
yeah,
how are we going to work together? But
yeah,
unfortunately, they kind of feel like they own this calendar because they discovered a piece of it. And so
yeah,
when that kind of happens, they get really, really puffed up and prideful,
yeah,
and they take it as attacks, but they're not willing to be humble enough to reason together. And it's a case of sharpening iron at that point, because they just don't want to hear anything that messes up their conclusion, because they
yeah,
might be wrong with it.
yeah,
So
yeah,
it's a matter of pride,
yeah,
and we need to, because I said I still look at their stuff. I'll still look at Aaron Ryan's stuff, even though we
Yeah.
had some contention. And
Yeah.
I'll still look because they still, I understand that they have a piece that,
Yeah. Well, how about Eddie Chumney, for instance? He's got a lot of great teachings and has come to understand a lot about the Zadoks and the Dead Sea Scrolls and everything, and John the Baptist and all that, and
Yeah,
him
I
and
love his work.
Avi Ben Mordecai, and I praise them for what they've come out of, because at one time Eddie wouldn't listen to me at all about the calendar. He was a lunar. He was at Judaism lunar calendar, and but I didn't hold that against him, and I still listen to him at different times, and so anyway, I don't think there's none of us probably that have it perfect, and so we're trying to attain perfection, but it won't come until Yeshua decides for it to come.
well, I think with the amount of evidence that we are accruing, it's just evidence that we have that humility and that humble spirit to be able to listen to the Ruach and work with others and be able to share the things and go through, back and forth with people. And it just seems as though the people that don't want to hear that's where their contention is lying. And that's fine. We step away and we pray, but you never because I mean, honestly,
You got to be humble, but I can't jump into this calendar just immediately. You got to prove it out definitely to yourself 100%, and before you make a change. And I'm starting to see a lot of things, and that is a problem with what I'm doing now. So anyway, I'm on the road, and I need to pray about it. And I hope everybody that's not on the right calendar is praying about it and humble ourselves about it. So
Yeah.
I guess that's all I got to say right now. So anyway, nice information that you gave me. I thank you very much, and you guys have a blessed Sabbath, and we'll be together. We'll be all together one of these days.
All praise to the Most High. Thank you for joining, brother.
Amen. Amen. Hallelujah.
Yeah. And, it's all about coming together, being able to reason through scriptures. And, I felt the same way when I first was coming to this. I was like, okay, I'm going to jump in and I'm going to disprove this. So the more I dug into it, the more I see it wasn't disproven. It was actually being proven. And I was like, my jaw was literally dropping to the floor, and I was like, no way. So I dug deeper and deeper, and I just kept finding more things about it. And that's when, actually Yahuah, I was praying, I was fasting, I was doing all these things. I was like, show me if this is truth. If this is truth, you have to show me. And so that's when he basically showed me about the equilux that happens in Jerusalem, and then the equinox, which is a straight line shadow, because most people think the equal day and equal night is the straight line shadow day, but technically it's not. And because of the atmospheric refraction and lensing, things like that, basically water bends light. that's why the equal day and equal night will vary depending on your location. Because as the sun's moving, its light's actually bending until it gets right there to
Yeah,
the fourth portal, and just everybody's
yeah,
going to see that straight line shadow.
yeah. I understand that. Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
And yeah, it was just like, wow. And then, I started sharing more and more about it. And of course, I was a bit nervous because, this means, Saturday isn't the Sabbath. So, of course, I start sharing these things, and, some people were curious, others, of course, attacked. But, that's how this group got started originally is,
Mm,
I made it to be able to present, like, visually what we were finding.
yeah.
And then it turned
Well,
into,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well,
No, it was awesome. It was all praise to the Most High. Now we're family here,
yeah,
This is
yeah. It's
great
what I was
week.
ready to say was it's kind of embarrassing to your family, all my children and my grandchildren and people around me that I know that I speak to, and I tell them they understand that I'm keeping the Saturday Sabbath, and I used to keep a revolving Sabbath that changed every week or every year, and then I go to a Saturday Sabbath, and I try to tell my kids that, and now it looks like I'm on the road of going back to Sabbath changing every year. It's it probably it makes them think, well, I don't know, I don't know if he knows what he's doing or not. He's pretty wishy-washy.
Yeah, I totally understand that, Ray. And then it's like when you put it into perspective, you're like, man, I just need to die to my flesh. Who cares what they think of me? I'm following Yah.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Absolutely, you are. Yeah,
Just get in that headspace and that heart space about it and just pursue him.
yeah.
Hey, Jeremy,
Yeah.
where did you see that there's a portal with no name?
It's Enoch 72:5.
72.5. Okay.
Yeah, where the sun sets in the west, then it
Uh,
goes through the north into that portal and shines in the face of heaven.
oh, wow. I
And
wonder, just sitting here thinking, don't know, but try to find out if, I wonder if that portal opens on day one. Because
yeah,
one and seven is the eighth day, and I wonder if that's Mashiach, because I know when he said, "Let there be light," and there was light, I know that's Mashiach coming forth. I'm wondering if that portal that doesn't have a name, and he's coming with a name that no man knows, I wonder if that's day one. Just curious.
well, we see it as day zero, actually, is what we see it as. Because then in that same way, it's going into the great fourth portal.
Well, how
And
can it be day zero if you eliminate the day zero? And then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 4 starting the equinox.
yeah, so that's what we were just talking about with that bending of light. So Enoch was taken above all of that. So he saw it exactly how it was. So the
Mm-hmm.
equal day and equal night, things like that, it would actually happen the day before the Tekufa from that perspective. And that's what that portal in the north is showing as well, because when the sun's setting in the west, then it goes through the
Uh-huh.
north, it's going in that portal and it's showing marking day zero. Then in
Okay.
that same manner, it's going into the great fourth portal, marking day 4 of the week, but day 1 of the month as well.
Okay. Okay. Huh. I wonder if that's when the New Jerusalem comes down, when that portal opens. Interesting.
I think you may be right, because I think it has to do with, no man knows that day or the hour, because why, everybody's forgotten about starting at zero, or this divider, this void. That's why no man will know it.
Mm-mm.
That's my thought. But yeah, that could be when New Jerusalem comes down, finally
Yeah.
revealed.
Yeah. If it goes to the north, we know it's his Mount Zion on the sides of the north.
Yeah,
City of the
exactly.
Kings. If it goes to the west, to the north at that point, then maybe it is Mount Zion, which is the New Jerusalem. So,
Yeah, no, I would agree.
yeah. Interesting.
Because, yeah, and with the unnamed portal, because no man knew his name.
Yeah.
He'll actually have a new name that no
Mm-hmm.
one knows.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, it just goes deeper and deeper.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
we'll definitely have to look into that a bit more, though.
Wow. Yeah, I'm going to have to set that dome out there and see what
Yeah,
that thing does. I'm going to try to do that, but I can't do that till spring anyway. So,
yeah. Do you have
or
like,
take a flashlight, but you'd have to know exactly where the sun's positioned at noon and in the early morning.
yeah, you would have to
Bringing that flashlight
something.
up from the eastern gate, shining it into the eastern gate, and hold it up maybe at noon where it shines directly down into the hole.
Yeah, or build some kind of arch and just like, so you can slide the flashlight up in like a perfect
Hmm.
arch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That would be great, because then we could see, the Holy of Holies lighting up, like
Ah,
actually, physically.
ah, interesting.
Yeah, that hole in the top too, marking solar noon,
Yes,
also
yeah,
lighting up the Holy of Holies.
yeah. I know it's that Taub shining on the floor. I don't know if I sent that one
Yeah,
where the native tribes are drawing that on the dirt in their Hogan.
yeah. I think we talked about that last week, actually.
Yeah, very interesting.
Shabbat Shalom
Wow.
soon. You got some clouds there. Shabbat Shalom, Sumi and Brandon.
Shabbat
Yeah.
Shalom Sumi. Where is she?
I see her in chat.
Oh, she's
I
not
saw
on
Brandon.
this call.
I saw Brandon pop up for a second. I guess he popped up and popped out.
Oh, she's entered.
Shabbat
Boom.
Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom,
Shabbat
Sister Sumi,
Shalom.
Brandon.
Shabbat Shalom.
How
Yeah,
y'all
no, we were
doing?
just talking about not bad. We were just talking about the Holy of Holies lighting up. And because Lee has that model, he was going to do that on the Takufa, or maybe do it with the flashlight and get like
Oh,
footage of it.
sounds cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to suggest too, if you have like some kind of little camera or something, you could put it in there and record it from the inside too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, 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 yeah. I can do that. I've got a little bitty GoPro that might do that. But yeah, I've got
yeah,
some other little cameras that might do that. But yeah, I'd have to make sure that door is faced to the east. And
yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And just let it do what it's going to do and see it solar noon, because I know solar noon here is about 1:36 in that time frame. 1:36, 1:40, somewhere in there. Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I look forward to doing that.
No, me as well. I'm pretty excited about it. And then we can visually show, like, hey, look, this is what, Ezekiel 43 is speaking about, and this is what they literally physically saw marking, day 4.
Yeah, I'm wondering, that, like that sundial that I've got, you got two bars. One tracks the time, one tracks the equinox. And when it crisscrosses in the center at solar noon, we know at solar noon that that is correct. But that straight line stays on there from the morning till the end of the day anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wonder if that XM bar is the equinox bar over the dome. It's just flipped upside down. It's kind of like the rainbow. If you look at the rainbow colors, you would have to flip the rainbow upside down, and far as the color order, to represent what's above you, because we know purple is royalty, and the white fire, which it goes from purple to white, is the most holy place. So when you look at a rainbow, flip it upside down, and you'll get your colors correct.
Wow. I
And
didn't think
that,
about that.
yeah. And if you look at the sundial, the one I have, it's flipped upside down like the rainbow.
Interesting. Wow.
Mhm.
That's
Yeah.
going to be awesome to see,
Oh
actually.
yeah. Mm.
Just more evidence, more confirmation. Truly. Yeah, reading Baruch. Yeah, Baruch's a good one. It's definitely good, sister.
Hey, Jeremy, good morning.
Hey, Shalom, sister.
I was just wondering if you would be able to add your PDF calendar to like a tab on your website, just so it's easy to share or view.
Yeah. I was trying to find a website because you have to have a special website to like upload a PDF for it. So I was
Oh,
trying to figure out how to do that. I'm not very
okay.
I'm not very technically savvy, but I'll definitely I'll look more into that because I've been wanting
Yeah,
to do that, so I can just share a link and be like, "Oh, here you go," and you can download it from here.
right. And do you have like a free website?
Yeah, I got the WordPress one, but the thing about that is I've tried to put the PDF on there and it doesn't let me.
Hmm.
So it's like that
Hey,
the site I
Jeremy,
got. Yeah.
the reason why is because, let's say you got an iPhone and you've got a Android. Okay, Android is more Microsoft based. Apple is not. So if I tried to send somebody, like we talked before, if I tried to send somebody a PDF to an Android, it doesn't work. But if I send a RTF or a Word document, it will come up on an Android. So I wonder, since WordPress is probably Microsoft, that's why you can't. Maybe you can do it in a document, or change the PDF to a document or a RTF. And maybe you will be able to upload it then. Just a thought.
Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah. So change it into a document so Word or whatever can read it,
Yes.
Microsoft based,
Yeah,
and then it
change
will
the PDF into a document or
that's
RTF.
that's probably why it wasn't working then,
Yeah,
because I kept trying to do it and it wouldn't do it.
yeah. I think that's why.
But yeah, I'll have to try that.
Yeah.
Yeah, see,
Thanks,
I'm
Lee.
not. Yeah, thank you, V. I'm not very technically savvy with computers anyway, so
Yeah, I'm
my,
not very PC savvy. I've been a Mac guy for a long time, so I couldn't tell you how to do anything on a PC.
no, my little brother, he does he works for a cable company doing their what is it? Was it? I forget the name of it.
Fiber
The
optic.
yeah, the fiber optics and the servers and all that stuff. Like, those huge rooms where they got like 100
Oh,
computers.
networking.
Yeah,
Networking.
networking. That's what it is,
Uh-huh.
networking.
Uh-huh.
So he knows a whole lot about computers. He used to live like a mile from me, but now he moved to Texas, so he doesn't anymore. I used to just bring it to him and be like, "Hey, fix this, do this," and he'd be like, "Okay."
Yeah. Yeah.
But now I
Well,
can't, so
I do know a couple of people that do that. So, because at one point in time, I used to set my own computer up as a server. You can turn your computer into a server. That'd be good for you to do.
yeah,
Where you can load all the files and everybody else can load up files instead of just Telegram. It just, um, your computer's running as a server, not a computer.
yeah, it's not storing anything, but it's
Yeah,
like
yeah,
putting
yeah,
putting it out there.
yeah, yeah. We were using Wired Client to do that, um, which it's pretty tight. I don't know how it is now, but back then where we would share a lot of files and this and that. But I don't know. I don't know today. It's been about 6 or 7 years since we were doing any of that. But yeah, you can sure turn it into a server. And then you'd have a different we'd put different VPN numbers. So it would never go to your IP address, it would change it. So nobody could find you.
Yeah, no, I've heard about all that. Yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
because it'd be cool because I have that library group because of all this information.
Yeah,
But it'd be cool to put it all in like one place where it's accessible to everybody.
sure. Yeah, but you'd have to give them permission to come on your server. So then
Yeah,
you got to be real careful who comes in there.
yeah, exactly.
So it was always password protected.
And
Yeah,
that's why I have our group is private and you can only get in by an invite link.
yeah.
And so that's why a couple weeks ago when whatever that was that came in, that prawn bot,
Oh yeah, yeah.
someone had to have shared the link and it got leaked or something and they got in, but I handled that. We haven't had any problems since, but
Oh, good, good.
I think it was someone who left and they were just, I don't know. I can't say for sure, but
Yeah, yeah. We don't know. Yeah,
it's
or
just good.
somebody could
Yeah,
invited somebody else and thought they were a decent person, and come to find out they probably who knows. I mean, even when you send links across the internet, I mean, it can be picked up. So
precisely. And that's
yeah,
why I added some moderators across the time zones. So in case anything happens and one of us is sleeping, it can be handled immediately.
Oh yeah, yeah, of course. Yeah, matter of fact, the only way I could get it off is delete all my history and stop it from playing. That's what I did.
Yeah, no. I saw it and immediately removed it and blocked that person. And then
Yeah.
they went into our library group too. But I was already in there looking for them. And so by the time they came in, the second they shared it, I caught it and I deleted it and blocked them from that group too.
Oh, good, good.
So I don't think anybody saw it in the library group because I was literally in that chat when it was shared. I was like, did they share anything in here? And then boom, there it was. I was like, there, boom, gone.
Oh wow. There you go.
So yeah, it's just good to be careful because things like that do happen because people for whatever reasons.
Yeah, of course. And I don't know how long we'll have Telegram, but I'm sure everything's going to go down and a new system's coming up soon. So we have a
Yeah,
short period of time, however long Father allows it to go.
yeah, we definitely see the signs of the times.
Yeah,
100%.
yeah, we're getting close.
Lee, did you find anything in that book?
I haven't read that. I've been reading some other things.
Mm.
So
What were you
I
reading?
have. I haven't. Oh, I've been reading Apocalypse of Kepha and the Apocalypse of Paul and some other ones, which I'm starting to see some things too. And how
What do you?
Hasatan, in one, how Hasatan, the reason why he was an attorney in the heavenlies. A lot of people say, well, he was the head over worship. Well, because of all the pipe stuff that was built in him and all that stuff like that. But I think he was an attorney, a prosecuting attorney. And like he's the accuser of the brethren, so he goes before Yah day and night accusing us of this or that to see what cracks are open or what we're not doing right or this, that. And he tells Abba back and forth. But I think he's a prosecuting attorney. But if you go back and look, you can see how he fell before Genesis 1. Because what happened was, since Yah made man in his own image and likeness, then what happened is he had to bow down before Adam. And he
Wait, he
wouldn't.
had to bow. I'm sorry, to Adam.
Yes, yes, because
Where do
we
you,
were made in the likeness and image of Yah.
as in like serving?
Yes, yes,
Where
yes.
where do you
They
where are
didn't.
you getting that from?
One of the books. One of the books.
Okay.
But yeah, he said, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to bow before man. We were created first." And the angels were always supposed to assist us, but he would not.
There's something I read. I think it was in the scriptures somewhere, but it speaks about that as well. I don't
Yeah,
remember exactly, but
yeah,
it's because we were made in the image of Yahuah,
yes,
so he put us above, like
yeah.
basically the angels.
And they
And
were
so
supposed to serve us and assist
yeah,
us.
and
But
so
the ones
yeah,
that rebelled that didn't want to do that.
Makes sense of, why we're hated so much.
Of course, he wants you to worship him, but Yah says no. You worship them.
that's
Yeah,
very interesting. I don't remember
Yeah,
where I read it though, but I'll go
yeah,
ahead.
yeah. Sorry, I'm in total agreement with what's just been said there. We will be made above the angels. We're not made above the angels yet, but on our resurrection, we will be made above the angels. We will be made with his law written on our heart, and we'll be unable to sin. And that's when we will be ministering to the angels, because the angels are still in a position where they're able to sin. They still have freedom of choice. Whereas at
Yeah,
resurrection, we won't have that. So we will be made above the angels, but we're not made above the angels just yet.
it starts to make sense. You know that verse that said, "And I will make them come down and bow down before your feet to know that I have loved you." I wonder if that's what that is.
Wow.
Yep.
No, that makes me think, exactly. And, we're going to be put in a position above them. And so this is why Hasatan, he didn't like that. He's the one that wanted to worship and things like that.
Yeah, that's why he fell, because of pride.
And I mean, him tempting Eve in the garden shows that, because they were once in glorified bodies too, but yet they were able to, get repentance because of the sinful state, but yet he won't be.
Right.
He forfeited
Right.
that.
Right, because they wouldn't worship Yah's image and likeness. We were the only ones created in his image and likeness. They were not.
He basically committed blatant sin
Yes.
and unrepentance for it.
He wouldn't humble himself down before what Yah made in his image and likeness. So the opposite of humility would be pride.
Yeah. And I think that's what that story in Revelation 12 is speaking about.
I do too.
It's about the war where Satan fell before Genesis.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah, I think that's...
I don't think that was before Genesis, because when he said woe to the inhabitants, meaning I don't believe that he was able to go to and fro anymore. I mean, to and fro, yes, but I meant like not up and down anymore, because he's only subjugated to the earth in Genesis 12, or sorry, Revelation 12.
Yeah, exactly. So when he was thrown down, that's why they say woe to the earth, because now, especially now, we're under his deception. A lot of people are. And the deception is all over the earth. So I don't know. Honestly, that's just my thoughts. I believe it's speaking about when he first fell, and then he brought down his angels with him.
Yep.
And then those angels are the ones, they mated with the women. They taught men all the heavenly things, war, things like that.
Yes.
I mean,
We
I could
just
be
don't
wrong,
have the
but
beginning before Genesis 1. It's taken
yeah,
out.
yeah.
That's why we don't understand it.
Prince
Living.
of the air, exactly.
Just kind of like they hid the book of Hanuk from us. They didn't want us to know about the fallen ones, so that was hidden. And just like before Genesis 1, it's hidden. They don't want us to know.
And actually, in Jubilees, it shows a lot of what happened before Genesis as well.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It speaks about, he made 7 different works or something.
22.
Or yeah, 22. That's what it was.
Uh-huh.
All before, light came to be, which was marking the start of days.
Yes. Which each letter tells the story of his
Really?
22 works. Yeah.
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 And so a lot of people will try to equate that with like, oh, look, there was a pre-Adamic race, things like that. No, it was just before he made man, the angels he made, and it was them. That's what happened before Genesis 1.
Yeah. If you look at Genesis 1, it said it was Tohu and Bohu, but it's Hoshek, which there was chaos. There was chaos there. He had already fallen at that point. that there was chaos there. Well, that chaos is them. They're chaos.
Yeah, yeah. And that reminds me, so that there's a movie from like the 80s. It's called Legend,
Uh-huh.
with that big like red devil looking guy.
Uh-huh. Yes.
And in the beginning of that movie, it speaks about the darkness that was there before the light, and
Yes.
how these fallen ones, it was their time.
Yes.
And it
Okay.
just reminds me of what you said, because it was all chaos and darkness, basically.
Yes, and the light shined on the darkness, and the darkness didn't comprehend it. It
It,
couldn't it didn't comprehend it. I think that's in Isaiah.
yeah, yeah, exactly. And that's actually in the beginning of that movie too. It says that literally. It says, "Then the light came to be, and they
Yeah.
couldn't comprehend it."
Yeah. And when the demons came and then they said, "What is your name?" We are Legion. Well, that's
Yep.
religion, and that's all the religions of the world put together. So this guy was evidently doing all the religions of the world. I'm thinking, because
Oh,
that's
that
where
makes
that
sense.
word religion comes. Region. Yeah.
No, you're absolutely right.
Breaking up.
Legion. Yeah, you
Uh,
were breaking up a bit there,
huh?
Lee. But yeah, a
Yeah,
region.
Legion religion. Yes, we
Wow.
are many religions. Yeah.
I think they also have to do with AI in modern times as well. Like, because it's that Legion demon, many in one. That's how you
Oh,
AI would be able to keep track of all of us, because it's not just one demon, it's many.
yeah. I was listening to a guy the other day, and it was pretty interesting. He was talking about, in Revelation where it talks about the name, the mark, uh, or the name. Well, we have overcome two, which the name, the false name would be JC, and then the image um, would be the religions of the world. And then the mark is soon to come to tag you because you didn't overcome the other two.
Yeah, no,
Pretty
that makes
interesting.
sense. And even with the timeline,
Yeah.
because there's nothing new under the sun. So he's going to make the little season appear like it's the
Yeah.
time before millennial reign. So we're
Yeah.
we're going to have the beast system, the mark, all these things the same.
Yeah. Yes. So
It's all part of
image, the image is the religions of the world.
history.
The
Because
traditions of men. The traditions of men.
yeah, every single religion, they have an
Yeah.
idol or some kind of statue or
Yeah.
something they bow
Yeah.
down to.
Yeah. They prefer the
That,
traditions of men.
yep, that black cube. That
Uh-huh.
what is it? Muslims, they all bow down to that black cube, and that same
Yeah.
black cube those rabbis put on their heads.
Yep. Yeah. It's all in cahoots. I mean, it's all the three religions, really. I mean, it's all mixed in. Hinduism, you name it.
Yeah, we see that.
Muslim, Christianity, Judaism, all of them.
Albert Pike wrote about that in his book. He said, actually, what is it? Muslims came about. Sorry, something in my throat. But anyways, the papacy created Muslims,
Yes, yes. To slaughter. They're going to be doing the slaughtering.
and it was all for in the end times to pit them against each other. And that's what Albert Pike writes about. He says, we'll pit the Muslims against the Jews and the Christians, and the Jews against the Christians and the Muslims, the Christians against the Muslims and the
Right,
Jews.
right. He's going to make all the religions fight each other.
Yeah, so all they got to do is sit back while everybody tears themselves apart. Then they come in with their one world religion, exactly like we're doing. And they're like, "Hey guys, look, we're all worshiping the same God, so let's just all get along. Let's coexist." Things like that. That's mixing, and Yahuwah doesn't like mixing.
No, he doesn't. That's
And
interesting. Well, yeah.
that's very interesting. It's been a part of their plan, since the beginning. And Satan himself has had every human being in existence practice deception on, so he knows exactly what to do. He's the one that tricked Eve. So if he can trick people with perfect bodies, how easy is it for him to trick us? Especially, the mass population who doesn't know any better.
Yes. And I say we're all
Breaking up there, brother.
Yeah, you're breaking up there, brother.
Still breaking up.
Yeah, still breaking up. We can't hear you. But yeah, exactly, Brandon. The one world order. That's what they always wanted. And that's part of the whole deception, deceive the elect into thinking instead of being in the little season, they're going to make the millennial kingdom. And then in that sense, they would lose hope because that's the whole point. They want you to think, oh, there's no hope. If we're in Satan's little season, there's no hope. What's the point? Well, the whole point is still the exact same. We follow the Torah, we keep the commandments, and we teach others to do the same. And we still make the kingdom in the second resurrection. We will be part of these other nations in the renewed heaven and earth. Basically,
Yeah.
I don't care about being a janitor in the kingdom as long as I make it and I do my best to try.
Right. I'll polish the gates. It's okay.
Exactly.
I was gonna say I don't know if there will be any trash or anything, but definitely polishing. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, I've always wondered, the 30, 60, 100 fold. I don't know, and I'm not saying that's the way it is, but I'm wondering if it's, you first come to the Messiah, and then he brings you back to it's kind of like in reverse, back in the Tanakh. It's like they knew the Father, uh, and then they were walking in his Ruach, in the prophets too, and then they had a chance to accept the Messiah. We're going back the other way, like we accept the Mashiach, and then we get the Ruach, and then we go to the Father. And I'm wondering if that 30, 60, 100 fold is like the 30 coming to Yeshua, the 60 walking in the Ruach, and the 100 fold is the Zadokite way. Just a thought.
That's an interesting way of looking at it.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah. Anyway, I'll shut up.
No, we love your input here, brother. And I was real quick, I was gonna ask, what do you think of the apocalypse of Peter and Paul? Like, do you think they are legit? 'Cause I haven't read them yet, but it's
I
funny you
do.
mentioned them.
I do.
Awesome, because
Yep.
I randomly saw both of those books in a search I was doing or something. It was a video or a search I was doing, and I saw the apocalypse of Paul and the
Uh-huh.
apocalypse of Peter, and I was like, I should
Yeah.
read those. And then you bring them up, and I was like, well, okay, that's definitely a sign. I should definitely read them. So,
Yeah. 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 I think it's whether some things have been boogered in it or not. I mean, well, I just a lot of things have been changed, but I think you can understand certain things out of it for sure. I mean, I don't think we have a totally pure, clean text. Period.
oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, the whole Nebuchadnezzar statue dream, I absolutely believe it has everything to do with what we're seeing now. You know, the iron mixed with clay,
Hmm.
and then
Hmm.
that stone that strikes it. You know, that's it.
Yeah.
That's final
Signaling.
judgment. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's final
exactly.
judgment.
And that iron mixed with clay, I believe it's this technology mixed with us people. You know, with this
Mm.
whole Neuralink and AI, things like that. You know,
Yes.
they want to wire people's brain up to the internet, and then
Of
oh look,
course.
you can have all you got to do is think, and you can move stuff now, like basically telepathy, things like that. And
The
it's
five
literally,
months of torment. The 5 months of torment, wishing they could die, but won't be able to. Yeah.
yeah. And I believe technology is actually, Nephilim created stuff. You know, it's the
Of
stuff these
course.
demons create
You bet.
because we see the same layouts. Even like if you go to ancient cities, you look at the layout of it, and then go look at a motherboard on a modern day computer and look at that
Hmm.
layout on it, and you're going to see the
No.
same exact layout.
Yeah. And then
Small.
there's people seeing cities in the sky that looks like motherboards.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I believe these things have always existed, and these are what
Sure.
they're going to call UFOs and things like that. Oh, look, they're
Yeah.
from other planets. But no, it's
Yeah.
just technology that's been around since the beginning. They hide it
Sure.
all.
Sure. I agree.
Built by the UN, the head of a lion, feet of a bear. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they did. They built that statue. It literally
You know,
had.
I see so many people that come in, and I know a lot of people that I know, and they're playing around with that stuff. I just gotta let them go. I can't be around it. But yeah, they think the chat GPT, and they get questioned. I think that's the knowledge of the tree of good and evil. It tells truth, but then it twists it and tells a lie too.
It
You're
does.
eating from the knowledge of the tree of good and evil when you're asking it questions, and that's the
Exactly.
yeah,
No, we
Yeah,
personally,
I don't believe we should be asking it anything. That's
that's
entertain. Yeah,
correct.
I don't. Yeah, I don't agree.
Yeah,
Yeah, no.
who has sought my counsel? He didn't say who has sought my chat GPT. Yeah,
and we experienced
but people are
first.
falling into that.
Yep, we experienced that firsthand where AI fabricated all of those quotes talking about the day after the Sabbath. All of them
Yeah.
fabricated by AI.
Learned our lesson right there with that one.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
You know, like I used ChatGPT when I was creating the curriculum for the program that I was teaching. But what I would do is I would highlight from the textbooks, like the paragraphs, and I'd say, okay, can you make these paragraphs into slides? And so it would bullet point the information and turn it into a slideshow. And so I feel like in that instance, like it couldn't be used as a tool. But as far as like asking it questions to draw from the abyss of knowledge, yeah, probably not smart.
Correct. Leave it alone. Kind of like necromancy, conjuring up something that's, you know, it's a machine, but yet it's demonically run. So,
Yeah, well, look what runs these machines, these crystals and precious metals, things like
yep.
that.
You might as well just ask the Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
But
it's like just like more intellectual than that, but it's like the same thing.
Yes, precisely.
Yeah.
yeah, they use these things in summoning these spirits back then, precious metals, crystals, things like that. That's exactly what they make, you know, computers and phones and all that with. But not to say we
Yeah.
can't use it
I
for
think,
good, because we do use it for good. But go ahead, brother. Sorry.
no, I think what we're going to see, this is an opinion, but when they talk about the golden age, the last thing, and I think it's, boy, I can't remember the order of it, but what they're going to do is bring a utopia. It's going to be so wonderful. New technology coming out, getting everything you need. He's going to give you everything of this world. If, and I think that people will get sucked into it because they want comfort. Like people that are sick in their bodies, they're going to want healing, med beds, all this other stuff. But they're going to have a solution to almost everything that you need. And that's why, to come out of her, my people, you're totally going to be outcast, period. I mean, it's going to be a tough time. But yeah, they're trying. I think it's a utopia. I don't think it's a bad time where everybody's suffering. No, just his people will have to come together and trust Yah all the way. But he's letting things even happen because he knows that just a sudden hit of being, if I'm comfortable, would be worse than if I'm uncomfortable. So he's allowing and stripping certain things of the system and the world.
And we got a
And
little
it's
taste of
getting,
that with COVID,
sure,
Oh yeah.
sure,
because they were trying to tell people that if you didn't get the vaccine, you weren't going to be allowed in certain places. I've
sure,
literally
sure.
had people that were around me that were like, "Oh yeah, I want to go to this concert, so I just got the vaccine." And I was like, "What?
Yeah,
Because you wanted to go to a concert? Like you said,
yeah,
you're exchanging your actual freedom to convenience."
yeah. It's like he says, I brought you out and I made you hunger and thirst to test you. That's coming. That's really coming. Because I do think it's a utopia coming. I think it's going to be just all new technology. Everything's so easy at your fingertips. I think we're about to see that soon.
Well,
And so
social
many people
media.
will fall into it because they want to be comfortable. They don't want the comforter. They want the flesh comforted.
Yeah, and they'll do it by, oh, look, you don't have to work anymore. We'll pay you for being a good citizen.
Yes.
You'll have a social credit score like China does, and
We'll feed you.
your pay and your privileges will be based off of that. It's like,
Yes.
nah, no thanks.
Right. Right.
Tracking
But
and
like you said,
tracing.
neither will they hunger anymore, neither will they thirst anymore, neither will the sun beat down upon their heads.
Yeah, because no one's gonna leave their house. We're just gonna all be inside playing video games,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
in the virtual reality, things like that.
sure,
I'm like, oh,
sure.
why would I need to go anywhere? I can just virtually go there.
Yeah, yeah. He said they'll fast in those days. Yeah, he will.
And with that whole
I mean, if
learning,
we're his, if we're his and just not there yet, he will, I hate to put it that way, beat us down. Um,
Refine us.
have no research. Say again.
Refinement.
Yeah, refinement.
Refinement, yes. To get the rest of the stuff we haven't dealt with off the top, yeah.
Exactly. And I think the whole scamdemic was a test of the controllers themselves to see who all is going to bow and listen and who all is going to put up a fight. So I think they
Sure.
were making studies and determinations basically based off of that. Like, how much force are we going to get back against this?
Yes.
And they saw, 90% of the people just went with it. They're like, oh, well, like you said, I want to get in this concert, but they wouldn't let me in without getting the clot shot. So I just got it.
Yeah.
Or, the Krispy Kreme was offering free donuts if you got one, so I got it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
somebody else was offering free fries and a burger. And like the way that they were doing it in the commercial, like, it tastes so much better since it's free. And it's like, what? So embarrassing.
Nothing free.
Right,
Nothing
right.
free.
Not actually for free. Yeah, just sell your soul, basically.
They even had like money giveaways and things like that. Like, oh, if you're the first like 1,000 to get your jab, we'll give you money and gift cards and you name it, you can have it.
Yeah.
That's that enticement of the flesh is what they do. Most people
Y'all
fall
didn't
for
get
it.
an abomination phone, did you?
Oh no, definitely not. Those Obama phones, 100% tracking and tracing, recording of everything.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how they caught all these drug dealers and such too. And they just tap right into it. Oh, look what we got here. I mean, not like they can't do that anyway with every other phone.
Yeah. Maybe the system shift.
Yeah.
Maybe the
There was
system
no third
shifts
party.
his fault.
Yeah. There was no third party involved in that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
the B system, the tracking and tracing, the whole, making this whole Elon Musk brain chip. It's the latest, greatest thing to do. Once most of the people have it and they're like, oh, it's so cool. We got this new great device. That's when they're going to start mandating it. And all the people who already have it, they're not going to worry about fighting back because they already have it. So that'll
Yeah,
leave
I've
the
heard
rest of
a lot of Mexico's already done it. I know the lady president, she already said out of her mouth that she's already done it. And so are a lot of the other people doing it. So, yeah.
yeah. A lot of countries are already jumping on board. I think it was somewhere in India or somewhere in the East over there. There was a country that, they were told like a week in advance, we're all going to digital currency. And if you don't spend your money, it's going to be worthless.
Yeah, of course.
And so they had like a week to spend. If you had money, if you didn't either transfer it into their digital currency or spend it, you lost it. So they had
Yeah.
this like timeline and people were rushing and spending and like
Jeremy, do you know
there
if
was,
did that actually happen?
I heard about it. I had to look it up again to see exactly where it was. But I remember seeing it somewhere it was some news thing, not CNN, anything like that. It was,
Non-mainstream.
yeah, non-mainstream news. I saw it on there.
Hey, Jeremy. So I was at the DMV about a month ago, and there was this Chinese lady in front of me, and we started talking about digital currency. And I said, yeah, I heard that all of China is now digital. She said, oh, that's not true. And see, and here we've been told that supposedly it's all digital. And she said, no, we still use our money. I was like, oh, wow, okay. So it just makes you wonder how much they lied to us about other countries.
True. I don't think it was China that did it. It was some other country. It was like an Indian or Eastern Indian country, if I remember right. I know China has that social credit score system and stuff like that, and a lot of it is going digital there. Same with like Japan and things, but they still have paper money that you can spend, so it hasn't fully gone digital. But there is one country that I heard did. I'll have to look it up and verify it, make sure that's true.
Yeah, I really don't like Walmart, but if you sometimes I go there and get a few items, but if you go there and look, I've noticed, they've got a bunch of lines and cash registers. It's like they're doing it gradually, and it's like you have to use a credit card or a debit card, whatever. But the lines are getting smaller for the cash. It used to be like there was 2 or 3 lanes that they made you do that. Now it's up to like 7 or 8.
It. So now it's like one, maybe 2 lanes of actual cashiers,
Uh,
if even that
yeah,
sometimes.
2 or 3 now. Yeah,
There's a couple around here, they don't even have the cashiers anymore. Like you're forced to
yeah.
go through these self checkouts. And then there of course you got like 5 employees watching you like a hawk the whole time you're checking out. And it's like, why am I
Uh,
coming to shop to scan my own stuff, to bag my own stuff, to do all this stuff? This is all the stuff your employees are supposed to be paid to do. And here you got the customers just to do it all themselves. Now you don't have to pay 20 cashiers. You can just lay them all off and just have, all the customers do it themselves.
mhm,
Nobody bats an eye. Like,
sure.
oh, it's just so convenient. I just wave my card.
Yeah.
Or
No,
I just,
whenever I go check out at a store, I'm like, I'm not doing their job for them.
I hate to change the subject, but one of our sisters, Andrea, posted about the calendar, and we have Robert Villa and Jason Robb in there discrediting the 0 day.
that's the funny thing is I've dealt with both of those two. I've called them out in public. All of these things. They will not address any of our questions, and they will
So
refuse.
Robert is saying the Dead Sea Scroll Mishmarot proves that there are 0 days left uncounted in the 6 years of rotations. You have to prove them wrong, no one else. 1 week ends where another begins, and so on. 364 and no more.
Oh, we've proven them wrong many a time. That's why they fail to address our evidence that proves them absolutely wrong. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about Robert and Jason.
Well, I'm going to go in there anyway. I don't care.
Yeah,
From
that's what
vernal
I'm at.
equinox to vernal equinox, in fact, there is 365.25 days in a solar year. This is how many days we experience. Yah's
Yeah,
calendar cycle fits inside of that solar year.
That's where I would take so that the evidence that proves him wrong is everything Marissa had sent to him. I would take that and put it in the comments as
Well,
well.
I will. I just kind of want to explain this first. For whoever's reading, Jeremy, like, I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
it for, I just want
no,
it to be explained and for him to be exposed. Yeah, he's wrong about all that other stuff too, but this, if anyone is reading, we already went through that with him too. But for everyone who is reading this here, they need to see that there is 365 days in a year.
yeah, that's what I
That's
was
where you,
saying.
yeah.
Explain that, and then also for everybody who's reading, drop that evidence that proves them wrong. So that way people who are reading can see, like, hey, look, their method's wrong. Even if they fail to address it, which they have for almost a year, other people will see that.
Yep.
Yeah, Job, exactly. Robert Villa tried commenting on it was our video showing these proofs that the method doesn't work, addressing them in the video and all of these things. He commented in reply to someone else, and he was trying to say, we fabricate the day after the Sabbath is added. I was like, oh, so you're not going to address all the evidence that proves you wrong. You're not even going to mention it. I was like, and I said, please address these questions that we've been asking you for nearly a year. We would like to hear your answer. If you're not going to address these questions, then there's no reason to respond. And he never responded. Yeah, a moment of silence, yeah. But no, that's really the sad thing about them, they fail to address these things, and then, they try to mock and scoff and laugh at us. And then him and Jason Robb will go gang up on anybody from our group.
So what I have right now is Robert. I'm not even going to address him. It's just going to be for anyone who's going to read that. Robert Villa here is false. From vernal equinox to vernal equinox, there is in fact 365.24 days in a solar year. This is how many days we experience. Yah's calendar cycle fits inside of that solar year. Just as Yahuah divides the seasons with 4 days and a night separates each day, Yahuah also makes sure that his last day doesn't touch the first day of the year. It's a reset, and an important one for understanding the priestly ordination at the beginning of the year, so the priest could be ready for the first Shabbat.
And yeah, I asked him, I said, please show me book, line, and chapter of the sons of Zadok sighting a moon for anything. Where is that in the Dead Sea Scrolls? And Gina's response was, oh, it's in there somewhere. I was like, okay, show me cave and scroll number. And of course they didn't do that. Instead, she tried to say, oh, you don't know the Dead Sea Scrolls. I was like, oh, so that's why I asked you for cave and scroll number, because I have no idea what I'm talking about. Okay. Yeah, exactly, Sumi. Yeah, Marissa brought that up earlier. The day we're born, you were zero. Yeah, yeah. What? Yeah, and so how you explained it, like when you're a baby in the womb, you're still zero, and then when you're born, you're one. Marissa explained it as, when you're born, you're not 1 year old, you're 0 years old. But no, it works both ways, really. Uh, you start with nothing, just like Yahuah. Yeah, exactly. Just like trees.
What is it?
So, Sumi in the chat saying, so that's how they plant in scripture as far as trees, and we are the trees. It's like all the same concept.
So when you're born, you start your count at 0 and work your way up to 1.
No.
Yeah.
When you're born, you are 1 year old. You're on your first year. That's like in scripture. Like if I go outside and I plant a tree, I put a seed in the ground, and the tree, and as soon as the seed comes up, it's 1 year old already. Like you don't have to wait a whole cycle for it to be one. But you still have the seed. The seed would be 0.
So it's in its first year kind of context.
Yeah,
Not
but its
not
its
that
birthday
tree.
would be its birthday would be the beginning of every year instead of the end of every year.
Yeah. No, exactly. But and like I described earlier, you can't have 1.01 without that zero. Because 0.01 needs that zero as a placeholder. The zero isn't counted as anything. It's a void, a divider, a placeholder.
What does Robert do? He will never give any scripture for the 7 day for the 7 week after 6 years allowance, and then he speculates that the priests do what on that week?
That they all serve.
Yeah, he claims they all serve in that week, even though that's not in the Dead Sea Scrolls at all. Never once says that. He insists that their priestly cycles are going off moon phases, when those moon phases are author's insertions. And we actually see it's one of these leaders of the thousands of the stars, like Enoch mentions in 320, not a full moon.
So Robert skips this important day every year, yet adds a whole week of zeros after 6 years. He will never give any scripture for this allowance, and then he speculates that all the priests serve that week, but nowhere in the scrolls. But that's nowhere in the scrolls. Okay. Which is unfortunate. It's actually called hypocrisy. Because he's doing something with that day. It's just he's accruing a week instead of putting it where it belongs.
Yeah, exactly. Can you guys hear me? My phone keeps
I
on.
can.
Okay. Did you already hear what I said?
No.
Because my phone keeps losing signal, but it's the calendar that determines the priestly cycles, not the other way around. That's what they don't get.
Yeah, the calendar was established at creation,
Yep. Priestly
not
cycles
when,
came around.
right.
Yeah. It wasn't until King David that we had priestly cycles. And we definitely don't see the sons of Zadok sighting moons. And when you ask them, where are they sighting a moon? You just get, oh, it's in there. Okay, where at? Can you quote it? Anything? Well, if you don't know that, you don't know the Dead Sea Scrolls. It's like, oh, okay. Are you still typing your comment there,
Typing
Katrina?
away. Typing away.
Well, while you do that, since we're at 3 hours, 48 minutes, I'll stop this recording and then I'll just start a new one. That way we don't have an interruption. So give me just 1 second here.